Ah. Oh, what a way to start with a cough. こんばんは、皆様、ようこそ、ようこだよ。そし
Yeah,
て、
hello.
さらに、特別のゲストを、迎えてください。Please welcome our special guest, Izumi VT.
Hello, how is everyone?
Hi, welcome to my first episode of Shrine Talk with me, your host, Inari Yoko, where I talk about, well, generally video game and, well, video game, VTuber, and pop culture related topics. For today, it's a little bit broad, but our topic for today is, well, VTubers in general. But before that, a little, I'd like to introduce our guest first. Izumi, would you like to share, like, some information that you'd want our viewers to know about first?
Sure, sure. My name is Izumi. I stream mostly just video game content, but I'm really excited to be a part of a podcast episode. I think that'll be fun. Most of the games that I play are like horror games, so I'm excited to try something a little different for once.
Awesome. All right. So, would you say that you're also a variety streamer, like not just horror games but other genres too?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I play a lot of games with guns, no specific genre, or I do some art streams occasionally as well. But that's about as adventurous as I've gotten so far.
Dope. All right. Just a little breakdown of what we are going to talk about today. So the goal really for this talk is that I want everyone who's watching to learn more about our special guest, Izumi, and as a little side effect of that, maybe a little bit about me as well. But as for the topic, which is VTubing in general, I want to teach people, our viewers, a bit more of what goes behind the scenes when it comes to VTubing and what aspiring VTubers should know, what to expect in the realm of VTubing, etc., etc. All right, so um, first important question, I guess. Um, how did you go about designing your model, Izumi?
So, I feel like, based on all of the VTubers who I've met and everyone who I know, people always go one of two routes where their VTuber aesthetically is either the complete opposite of them or is literally just them but as an anime character, and I'm definitely in the later camp of that. I literally like in terms of again like the outfit and like the hair, this is just things that I wear. Like I literally just went into my closet one day and I was like, what's something that looks like it would be fun to draw? And that's how it all started.
I see, but quick, curious, why a bobcat in particular?
So actually, originally, I thought it would be a really cute idea if I were able to incorporate my Canadian heritage into my character. So originally, it was supposed to be a Canadian lynx, but I was like, oh, that's kind of a mouthful. Let's go for like a bobcat instead. A little simpler, but a similar idea.
Ah, I see.
Mhm,
Now, when I
mhm,
was coming up with my model, a friend of
mhm,
mine who's also into VTubers as a viewer did
mhm.
give me advice that I should make up my backstory and background before I come up with a design. How did you do
That's fair.
yours? Did you do your design first, or did you come up with your backstory first?
I honestly, I have a lot of respect for people who write like lore and stuff for their character. That's absolutely not me because again, this is really interesting to me as well. I feel like some people just literally stream as themselves, just as an anime version, or people like make a character for themselves, which I think is so creative and I love how expressive that is, but not me. Absolutely not me. I just went for the aesthetic and I was like, what's something that I won't get sick of?
Understandable. If anything, I envy that a bit. When I
Yeah.
first started, like prior to
Mhm.
designing my character, I really did go through the ropes of making my backstory and lore and everything. And
Absolutely.
there were so many changes prior to that.
Oh, I know, I know. Even like the initial concept that I ever had for my VTuber is not anywhere near what it is now. And I have to wonder if I had stuck with it, if I would be happy with it. You know what I mean?
I That's a problem with VTubing. Like once your model is
Absolutely.
set, there are only little changes you can do that
100%.
without that doesn't affect like you as a visual completely.
Yeah, 100%. And now, granted, I know like a lot of people do redesigns or rebrands and things like that, but that's also expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, when I did my background, my backstory, like
hmm
my first concept, kind of embarrassed to share it, but it's in the past, so I don't really mind anymore. But
Respect.
my first backstory was that like I was originally like an engineer or a mechanic from like you know Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Yep.
Yep. So not set exactly in Night City, but
hmm
like in a world in a city that's set kind of like Night City where augmentations and cybernetics have become like a standard lifestyle and stuff. So I
hmm
basically build and attach that to people. Now, because of the naive mechanic I was just like, hey, I wonder if I can make a time travel device. So I did
Okay, I
that.
like that.
So I
Yep.
did that, and I'm stuck here. I was supposed to be stuck in like 2020, 2021, and I'm like, crap. The only thing that I know of from my timeline that stayed popular until then was like VTubers. That was still a thing in my original timeline. Everything else has changed. There are no augmentations. There's no like, um, uh, yeah, every cyberpunk cliche that doesn't exist. The only thing that exists that I'm aware of is VTubing, and that
I
would have
love
been
that.
basically that's basically like would have been my backstory and my reasoning for becoming a VTuber. But of course, that concept, like I thought of it overnight, and I'm just like, this is a little bit much, and kind of
hmm
hard to like integrate as an as a persona. So I'm like, okay, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna have to scrap that, do it again.
Yeah.
So that's how I came up with what I'm doing now. And basically, yeah, the Inari Kitsune slash Fox persona that you see right in front of you. It took a process. And as you might have noticed, compared to what you just said, Izumi, like my process was a lot more complicated than yours. Yours was like,
I
I wonder what my design should be.
I know. Now I have to wonder, do you consider yourself to be more of a writer?
Oh no. No,
No,
I
okay, I was gonna
wish.
say, yeah, because I was gonna say, I'm absolutely not a writer, but I am an artist, so that's why I think I went for just the aesthetic choices first and kind of didn't care about the rest. But
Mm,
fair, interesting.
cool. But yeah, would you, if you had the chance to like
hmm
re-debut or like debut again for the
hmm
first time, would you
Yeah.
consider like writing up a backstory or whatnot? Or are you just gonna stick to what you're doing right now?
I think I would give myself a backstory, but it would be so like self-aware and not serious. Like it would just be a joke, you know what I mean? Just because I feel like, I've only been streaming for about a month, but I feel like I've already made such a really great community that it's like what's expected of me and what we'd all want, you know what I mean?
Hmm, I get you. All
It would
right,
never be able to be like too serious or too deep.
I know. It's one of those. It's one of those things. One of those ideas. You're like, this looks like a good idea, but the other half is like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't wanna fall hard because of a bad
hmm
move, a potentially
For
bad move.
sure.
All right. Next question. What were the most difficult parts when it came to creating your VTuber model?
Oh, okay. Oh my God. By far, the hardest part of making my model was learning how to cut the layers. Oh my gosh. There are so many parts that move, and you never really realize that. Each eye itself is like 13 different pieces.
Whoa.
But
Okay, I'm
yeah,
sick.
yeah.
A
It's a
little
lot.
galaxy brain math meme. I'm like,
hmm I
uh,
know.
huh.
Because like I think if I were to make another model, I think I understand what to do properly now so that I don't sort of walk myself in circles and do it all backwards. But my process for doing it was horrible. Basically, I started off, like I had the sketch and then I had everything like colored and whatever. But then after that, as I was cutting everything, I decided to, I don't know why I did this. After cutting everything, I like redid it all over again because that made sense to me. But I don't know why I did that. Like it was so backwards. So normally people don't do it that way at all, from what I understand.
Well, for my model, like,
Hmm.
wait, you made your live 2D model, right? You didn't do the
Yeah,
rigging?
yeah. No, no, I didn't do the rigging. I just
Okay.
did the model itself. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, you saved up a lot on money then. Well, me, I had to commission both the live 2D model and the rigger.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, other than the money,
Hmm.
like when my artist like, here you go, here's your live 2D model, I open up
Hmm.
the PSD and I'm like, uh,
What is this?
what is this?
I know, I know. I One of my friends was asking me about the process of making a model not too long ago, and I was like, "Oh, of course, like let me screen share, like let me show you my model." And they were like, "Oh my god, this is like 100 different layers."
I'm just like, it looks like I'm looking at like a semiconductor user manual. I'm like,
I know, it's terrifying to look at. My brain hurt afterwards.
all right. Oh wait, before I continue, just a quick
Hmm.
disclaimer. For those who are watching us right now, and if you have questions, don't worry. I'll entertain your questions after, if they are a bit off topic with the current question. But if they are, I will try to insert that in. But I will guarantee though that uh, I will entertain those questions after everything is done. Okay. Moving on. For me, the most difficult parts when it came to creating my VTuber model, since I commissioned it,
Hmm.
the outfit I'm wearing right now, because I
Hmm.
am not an artist at the slightest, and because my art, my because the artist I commissioned was like really smart. She told
Hmm.
me that, yo, the reference photos you sent me, these are from a game, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she told me
Hmm.
like, I suggest you find like original outfits because we don't want to step on any copyright stuff. And I'm like, oh crap, you're
Oh.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't even thought of
Because
that.
some of the outfits, well, not some. The reference
Hmm.
photo I did use was my character from F14 because they have this like very nice casual outfit, and I'm like,
Hmm.
that's the outfit I want. And I showed it them the first time, and that's what they told me.
Hmm.
So, and this was fair. They told me like, well, either you commission another artist to draw your design for you, then I'll make your live 2D model from that with my art style,
Yep.
or I I'll charge you the $100 like designing fee for the outfit. And I'm just like, hmm. So the part my decision there was like, okay, on average, a full body would cost around $60 to $100 for like a fan art of something.
Hmm. Yeah.
But if I just pay 100 for my, but $100 is also what I'm paying for my designing fee. So I'm like, the thing is, if I pay 100 for the designing fee, at least it's
Uh-huh.
coming directly from the artist who's making my model, so she has that in mind. But
That's true. Yeah,
if I
yeah.
pay $60 to $100 to have another artist do it, their style might not translate well with my artist. So I'm like, that's extra money down the drain then. So I just
Mm-hmm.
bit the bullet. I'm like, okay, sure. Another 100 on top, no problem.
That was smart of you. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you, for those who play FF14, and actually a lot of people also noticed that the jacket I'm wearing is very similar to one of the jackets in F14 because that is precisely like one of the outfits that inspired like the outfit I'm wearing right now. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
more casual variation of it, I'd say. It doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles on it, but it was inspired by
Hmm.
that. So yeah, I would say that the hardest part for creating my VTuber model was definitely like the design, like the outfit design. Everything
Yeah, that's
else,
fair.
everything else was in the hands of my skilled, talented, professional live 2D artist and rigger. All right. Um, a little follow-up question on what I just asked. What made you decide on your current design or theme of your current VTuber model?
Yeah, I feel like this sort of circles back a little bit into what we had already said earlier, but a lot of it again came from things that like I maybe this is exclusive to artists. I have no idea, but I've been drawing for a really long time, and of course, a lot of artists tend to have like a persona of themselves that they like self-insert everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I've been drawing the same character my entire life, which basically just like me. So I kept that in mind 100% because it was something I've been drawing for, the last 10, 15 years, so it's not something I'm going to get sick of anytime soon. And it would really suck if I got bored of my design and decided that I didn't identify with it anymore and I had to go commission new things. Money was definitely a big factor in that. I think again the other thing circling back to like the cat aspect of wanting to incorporate the Bobcat Canada Lynx aesthetic. And also I'm just a cat person, so that kind of helped as well. That was a no-brainer for sure.
So basically, a lot of like in real life aspects really
Mm-hmm.
affected it then.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think in terms of like, because I mean, my comparatively, my outfit is fairly simple compared to like a lot of other VTubers, and I mean even yourself, like yours is a lot more interesting, we'll say. You have like the different layers and stuff like that. I just wanted something simple so that it wasn't gonna be a headache for me to draw every single time that I did. But I think
Hmm.
if I were to ever make like a new outfit for myself, I would make it more complicated. Because I see a lot of people do the opposite of that, so makes sense.
God, imagine getting inspiration from what you experience every day.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
darn simple.
I know. I really do live life one day at a time. I try not to think too hard about things, and it usually goes okay.
I mean that in a good way, by the way. Like,
No,
darn it.
absolutely. I totally get you.
Honestly, what made me decide on my current design and theme was actually my backstory.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like how I was able to see that come together with you explaining your backstory. That was really cool.
Okay, so I guess a little tip for those aspiring VTubers, like everyone has their own preferences on how they start up their VTuber model. Like, I mean, me and Izumi have a very polar opposite difference of like how we started designing our model. I started with a
Mm-hmm.
backstory that then translated into a design, whereas Izumi was just like, I'm just gonna, well, again, she's an artist, so it's like I've been drawing this my whole life. I like cats. In real life, ideas are just flowing in me. I'm just gonna let my hands translate that. So again, everyone has their own origins um for their VTuber model. In my opinion, there's no wrong or right way to do it. But I will say though, take your time when doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be scared to go through a few different designs and find one that resonates with you, because that's what I did. And I'm really glad that I didn't go with the first one.
Yeah, because I think when you're designing your theme and your design for a VTuber model in mind, I think
Hmm.
the mentality of once I start, there's no turning back. I think that's a good
For
mentality
sure.
to have in mind. Like, I guess me and Izumi, if we do plan to upgrade our models in the future, it's still noticeable and identifiable. Ah, yeah, that's Inariyoko. Yeah, that's Izumi.
Yeah,
But we
absolutely.
cannot change so much that we're not recognizable anymore. We can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of mentality is good to have in mind, in my opinion. Okay. Next question. So, Izumi, what do you think is the first thing that aspiring VTubers should know when it comes to making their VTuber model?
Well, right off the bat, of course, I suppose this isn't specifically the model itself, but how expensive that it'll end up being if you're not an
Mm,
artist and you're not able to rig yourself, because it's usually pretty steep to start off. But again, well, as we were just saying as well, the whole design thing, I feel like it's a really good idea to, maybe sketch out a few different concepts and not just go with the first one that you think of. Because I say this, I know like a few people who like they were really inspired by one VTuber in particular, and then their, idea was that they wanted to look like this VTuber but a little bit different, and it was very obvious that it wasn't something organic to them. And it was just because they
mm,
really idolized this one, you know what I mean? It's good to draw inspiration from other people, but not to that extent.
I see, I see.
I
And
think it's really important to be true to yourself, I will say, in terms of your
mm,
model.
but then again, it also comes with how you want to deliver your VTuber model.
For sure,
I
for
mean,
sure.
Izumi is being pretty much herself, like as a person. Like I think if I'm getting that right, like
Yeah,
your
absolutely,
your model
absolutely.
right now is your character right now is it's an extension of yourself, right? It's not a separate entity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Well, personally for me, Inari Yoko is only a part of who I am.
Mhm.
Not fully a persona separate from who I am, because that would be way too
Mhm.
difficult for me in my opinion. I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of what I do as Inner Yoko is definitely
Mhm.
different from who I am as a person. Because I don't know, like as a VTuber, I wanna feel a bit different from what I am in real life.
For
To
sure.
to a plausible extent, of course.
Mhm. As long as you still feel comfortable as your character and as you in real life, that's the thing that matters the most. I think the problem with a lot of people who draw a lot of heavy inspiration from someone else is that they end up just sort of not feeling comfortable in themselves. They kind of, you know what I mean, lose interest quickly.
Ah, yeah, yeah. But as Izumi said, I will also agree on this. The first thing that aspiring VTubers should look out for is how much it costs to start
Mm.
as a VTuber. It is not cheap. The most common reaction I got to a lot of my friends in real life were like, "Yo, how much did your VTuber model cost?" I'm like,
Uh-oh.
it cost this much," and they're like, "Damn, that expensive." I'm like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
that expensive." But there are also some who are like, that's yeah, it's around the standard price range. I'm like, I know,
Mhm.
right? It's still kind of steep, but they're like, yeah, but for the quality, it's totally good. It's like not half bad. And I'm just like, I know. But yeah, definitely the price range is definitely the first thing you have to look out for. Okay. Halfway point before we take a little more casual or light-hearted like theme for the talk. What are the similarities and differences in content creation as a VTuber and a non-VTuber, would you say?
So I'll be transparent. I've never streamed before outside of VTubing, so I think you might have a little more of a accurate input on this one because I know you streamed as well outside of YouTubing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to think in terms of content that you can create, I don't think there's too huge of a difference besides, I guess you can't really do like travel vlogs and like just a lot of vlog related things, like IRL things. I mean, I suppose some VTubers do like cooking stuff and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like in terms of like actual content that you could, you know what I mean, stream or whatever, I don't think it's that different. But I do think that in terms of like how to properly word, I think in terms of actually making the content, it does take a little bit more effort, for my perspective at least, I would think, just because, you have a little bit more setup to do. You can't just turn on a webcam and go at it. You have to, set up your OBS, make sure you have your model working and things like that first.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Well,
feel like VTubers as well fill a little bit of a more specific niche than like an IRL streamer would,
oh yeah, yeah.
which
Yeah,
can
I
both be a good
understand.
and bad thing. Yeah, yeah. It can, you know what I mean, depending on what you're interested in, that's either really good or not going to help you out at all.
Hmm. Well, I get what you're trying to express here, and I have to
Mhm.
agree that in essence, a VTuber is still a content creator and a streamer. It's just
Mhm.
that the delivery and the theme is just slightly different. But if I
For
were to
sure.
put it on a more non-VTuber metaphor or comparison, it's basically streamers that have a persona versus streamers that don't. And
Mhm,
the
that's
most
fair.
obvious example I can give is definitely straight up, like for example, Dr. Disrespect. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Dr. Disrespect is not the same guy outside of that persona. I don't think he is going 360 no scope personality when he's done with his stream. But yeah, I mean, you can tell that that kind of persona content creation and streaming, it fits a certain niche. I mean, there's a
Mhm.
reason why, for example, there's so many FPS game streamers out there. Like again, Shroud, Summit 1G. Dr. Disrespect, etc., etc. And some of them are behind a persona like Dr. Disrespect, but others are practically who they are, like Shroud, for example. And again, they appeal to different crowds. And I would say, to some extent, that's exactly the. It's paradoxical. It's the similarity and the difference of a VTuber and a non VTuber. Like, in essence, what we do is not so different, but because of how niche our market or viewers are,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot more nuanced than a persona streamer. Like I
That was
would,
a really great comparison.
yeah, I wouldn't say we are similar to Doctor Disrespect. No, there's just
Mm-hmm,
something
mm-hmm.
different from a
For
VTuber
sure.
and a non-VTuber. Even if both are essentially a persona content creator or streamer, there's just something
Mm-hmm.
really different. But if I were to try and accurately like pinpoint what that difference is
Mm-hmm.
that when you're watching a VTuber, you're watching basically a character do content creation. And behind that character, there's a certain like appeal or charm point to them. And
Mm-hmm.
thing is, some of these extend beyond what we're familiar with. In some point, you would say that some have very fantastical, fictional, or anime aspects. It's really difficult to pinpoint, but if you've watched enough Niji Sanji Hololive Shoujo, and then you watch even other VTubers and Persona non-VTuber streamers, it just feels different when you're watching a VTuber. It's like, um, I don't want to step on any toes here, but you don't, you just get to see a character really. That's all you see. So there's no like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. There's no fear. There's no fear
Yeah.
of like interacting with this character because it's just a character.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, it's a little weird of a metaphor, but right off the top of your head, Izumi, who's your favorite anime character?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. If I had to pick a girl, I'd say Kuroneko from Orimo.
Oh, Orimo. Okay, so Kuroneko. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
Hy-
obviously.
hypothetically, just a hypothetical.
Uh-huh.
If you met a person in real life who looks exactly like Kuroneko, you have this hesitation like, I can't just interact with this person.
Right. For sure, for sure. Absolutely.
But then if you came across a Kuroneko VTuber, you're like, oh damn, a content creator that's Kuroneko, man, I wanna watch, I wanna interact, I wanna like
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That's a really great analogy.
yeah, that's kind of the point I'm driving here. There's
Mm-hmm.
like a certain safe feeling of safety
Absolutely.
for both the content creator and the viewer when they're watching a
Mm-hmm.
VTuber persona than a non-VTuber persona, or even just VTubers and non-VTubers in general.
Yeah, and I feel like this can kind of work in a good way or a bad way, but I feel like a lot of non-VTubers who watch VTubers sometimes have a hard time differentiating that, it's a real person behind the character and not just an anime girl. But I feel like, again, that can be a really good thing or like a really not good thing.
All right, so we've reached the around the halfway point of
Hmm.
the of Shrine Talk. So let's take a break from the questions and let's just go to quick like trivia casual Q&A with special guest. All right. Well, I blew one question by asking who's your favorite anime character, but let's move on with more gaming related stuff, shall we? And of course, more
Sure.
VTuber related stuff. All right.
Of course.
Who's your favorite? Okay, I'll make it easy. I'll make it a bit easier because you're a variety streamer, all right? You're a variety
For sure.
streamer. So if someone asks me
Absolutely.
like, "Yo, Inari, what's your favorite video game character?" I'm like, "Really? You know that I play video games plural,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna ask me what's your favorite video game character. You gotta pin it down for me, my dude. Alright, so I'm gonna ask you. And I did tune in to a lot of your not daymare, catmare, right?
Yes,
Catmare stream,
Catmare.
catmare streams. Who's your favorite Resident Evil character?
It has to be Leon Scott Kennedy. What other answer is there?
Leon Scott Kennedy.
Wait, who's yours? I know you're also a Resident Evil fan. I'm so curious.
Alright.
Uh-oh.
Exactly. But look, I played every single RE,
Mm.
but in my opinion, like, as much as I love all of the protagonists, like, of course, Leon, Chris, Claire, Jill, the list goes on, but there's just something special about Albert Wesker for me. There's just something special
Okay,
about
Albert is a
Wesker.
close second. I love him. He's so good.
Like, he's changed definitely from, like, Resident Evil 1 all the way to 5.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
his whole... If there's one thing that he's maintained from RE1 to 5 is that he's always been very brooding behind the scenes. Like, he's not
For sure.
immediately, blatantly a villain. Like, what the hell is your agenda? Kind of villain.
Absolutely.
And beyond that, like, I don't know. I could say this as either a preference or a bias, but darn British accent Albert Wesker, darn it. It's like, it just drives his whole character even better. I'm like, I don't know why it works or how it works, but it just does.
I get you. I feel like he is one of the rare characters in that series who each iteration of him in each new game consistently gets better and cooler. Like, no, I love Leon. Leon in 4, perfect. Leon in 2, fine. Leon in 6, not it.
Ah. Alright.
So
now,
at least, you know.
Since you like Leon, I will ask you. Well, you already answered this, but
Uh-oh.
I have a curveball.
Okay, perfect.
Not favorite iteration of Leon because you already answered that. But who's your favorite voice actor for Leon? That's the question.
That's a really, really good question. God. I mean, again, I'm gonna have to stick with 4. Who voiced him in 4? Oh my god. I don't even remember his name.
Oh, Paul Mercier, apparently.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Hang on, let me take a quick look on his...
Yeah, you're right.
So he's had a fair amount of roles in video games.
Yeah, he has.
But I think
I'm looking at his wiki
definitely
now.
from his video gameography, yeah, I think Leon S. Kennedy from RE4 is most notable one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, I would put it a close tie between like RE2 remake and RE6 Leon.
That's fair.
But I will say that the reason why I kind of included RE6 Leon there is kind of a bias. Like,
yeah, I mean, Matt Mercer is just a perfect human being.
I admire the man, and
I know.
I admired him even more ever since I met him in BlizzCon.
Oh, that's so cool. Matt Mercer is just such an icon. Like, I love him so much. He's
so
just so great.
Down to earth. Literally, when I walked up
so
to
chill.
him, first thing he asked me, "Yo, dude, what's your name?" I'm like, "You want to know my name?"
What? Oh my god, what a Chad!
What an absolute Chad he was. And
oh, dude.
For those who haven't seen Matt Mercer in person, I'm pretty sure it's very common for those who do not live in Canada or US, because I will say, it's a lot more accessible for you guys over there because you have a lot of cons where he's a guest, but people outside of US and Canada and maybe even outside Europe can't easily access them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, as someone who's been able to see him firsthand, the pictures don't lie. His hair is that fabulous.
Like, oh my god, he's such a beautiful man.
You can probably make a separate social page just for his hair, like Matt Mercer's hair.
It's great.
That's fabulous. Like, no kidding. I'm like, I'm an Asian. I'm waiting for Matt Mercer, and all these tall Americans and Canadians, I guess, are just like, darn it, I can't see him, but all I see is just like this fabulous wavy hair. I'm like, that has to be Matt Mercer,
Uh,
right? So
I love that.
I lean a bit off the line. I'm like, yep, that's Matt Mercer, all right.
That's so good. Yeah, as soon as I found out that he voiced Jotaro, I was like, should I rewatch JoJo in English?
He did a good job. He did a really good
I
job.
I have to. I have to like watch clips or something to like experience that. He's just so talented.
All right. You also mentioned a couple of times that you've played a lot of RPGs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm really picky with them, but I've played a good few.
Ooh, this is why this question's good.
Okay.
Well, two questions. What's your favorite
Mhm.
RPG?
Um, Pokemon feels too easy and a little too cheap, so I would probably say Persona 3.
Guys, let it be known that Izumi is an RPG player that has supreme and superior taste, because she just said Persona 3.
Yeah,
Persona
4 and 5,
3!
not bad. But I like the SMT series more. I will say that after Persona 4 and 5.
Oh, okay. You know that iceberg meme? You're literally like below the iceberg. Like the moment you said SMT, I'm like, oh no. She's
Uh-oh.
she's ascending beyond levels conceivable to like, yeah, Persona's so good. Persona's the best. SMT fans be like, it's a fucking joke.
I know.
It's not Persona, it's Shin Megami Tensei Persona. Persona is literally the subtitle.
I know. It drives me crazy when people are like talking about Persona. I'm like, oh yeah, the SMT games, and like, oh, what's that? Like, ooh, that's not Persona. That doesn't have my jazzy music. And I'm like, it has better music, objectively.
I will agree to some extent because one of the more memorable SMT titles I have played was Devil Survivor on the DS.
Oh, Devil
and
Survivor.
the
Yeah, one of my
3DS.
faves by far.
I swear,
Yeah.
the boss fight against that guy where his weak point is literally a cell phone charm, I froze for like 10 minutes because as a video game music connoisseur, the moment the boss theme played, I'm like, this is the
It's
first
so
boss,
good.
right? This is the first boss, right? I'm filled with this dread and this feeling of this boss is gonna screw me up. Even if I feel a bit over leveled, I still think he can just slap me and I'll die. Okay, it's still RPG related, but what is one RPG title you think deserves to be given another shot now?
Ooh.
It can be as
That's
a
a really good
remake or
question.
a remaster, but honestly, just a franchise or a franchise that you think deserves another shot now.
Okay, I don't know. I'm just gonna say the first thing that popped into my mind. I know this will never happen. Like, I know Nintendo does not care about the mother games at all whatsoever or
Oh.
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
God, even if it wasn't a new Earthbound, I would love to see one of them like remade in the art style that they used for the God, what was that Link game on the Switch? Where it was like sort of claymation-y looking? That would be really cool.
That completely passed, Mary.
God, what was that? Was it Link's Awakening? I think. Let me see. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Link's Awakening. It was the remake.
I think that would look so cute in that art style.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, that was the first thing that came to me.
Okay, for me personally, one of my friends literally simps for this franchise.
Okay, I'm ready.
Xenogears.
Oh, I've heard of that, but I've not played it myself.
Okay, here's the thing. If you hear a Xenogears fan, like, tell you that FF8 sucks, they have a reason to be a bit biased against it. Because I will say that, like, the last half of Xenogears felt a bit rushed and a bit off. And the reason behind that is because FF8 was in its development stage by then. So I'm like, oh no, I know where this is going. But as a game, it's just really great and really fun. Like, Xenogears was very creative in, like, the PlayStation era where turn-based RPG was king. There were just so many good titles on the PS1. But out of all the ones I've played, like Chrono Trigger, Breath of Fire, FF7 to 9, I still think Xenogears is the one that deserves a shot. Another title, especially now.
Big respect.
All right. A bit on the VTuber side, maybe like 3 questions before we continue with the more serious ones.
Sure.
Okay. Wait, actually, I should ask you prior. Do you watch any of the like company VTubers like Hololive, Nijisanji, Bishoujo?
Yeah. Can't say I haven't watched Vshoujo, but I have watched Niji Sanji and Hololive in the past. I don't keep up with them as much, unfortunately, anymore. Supporting the homies, but yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Okay, awesome. Who's your favorite? I believe the fact that this shrine talk is literally about VTubers. I have to ask you this question. Who's your favorite Hololiver?
It would be either, I think Botan, but Callie would be a close second.
Oh boy.
What's up? Who's yours?
Rank number 1 is like Coco Kiryu with Botan like close second.
Okay, good taste. I was gonna say, like, of course, Coco. Everyone loves Coco. She's definitely up there for me as well.
But like Coco, like I credit Botan for yanking me down the hole, but Coco Kiryu's the one that got like a leg stuck in the hole.
Yeah, she really made. I feel like she really made it a big impact on like VTubing and like the West as well.
Yeah, I mean,
there's so much to thank her for.
It may not be official or anything, and even with what Callie said during Coco's graduation, it can be understood in several takes or whatever. But I still credit Holo Ian's existence to Coco Kiryu.
100%, I completely agree with you.
Like the fact that Coco Kiryu was like, I should try and make Hololive less exclusive to Japanese viewers and reach out to the Kaigai Nikis, and she did, and I'm pretty sure Cover Corp was just like, uh-oh. There's this market that apparently has a lot of spending power and we're not catering to them. I think we should.
An untapped market, yeah, absolutely.
And if I were to give a simpler way to say how much of her impact Coco is, every official video of hologram that we see in the official Hololive VTube channel has English subtitles. That would not happen without Coco Kiryu. I will stand by this hill to defend 100%. That statement. We would not have official English subtitles for those anime, those shorts, without Coco Kiryu's influence.
For sure.
But man, the fact that you said Botan, I'm like, oh no.
Good taste.
Like, yeah, but I mean, the first time she debuted, I'm like, that's a very interesting design. Like, I don't know how to put it. It's not very wild as a design, but it's very like cool. And
it is, yeah.
When I tuned into her debut, she's like, oh yeah, I'm plat diamond in these FPS. I'm like, wait, Choto could have stopped right there. Did you just plat diamond in Apex and R6 Siege? Oh my
yeah, she's so cracked.
She's such a gamer.
I know.
When she revealed like, oh, this is my rig, and I'm just like,
damn.
This is such a gamer idol.
I know.
She's more gamer so than say so. And my most memorable Botan experience was when Kiara mentioned that she had to move out of Japan, I think, for a while. And she had to dismantle her PC. And guess who was the one who did that for her?
Oh, really? That's
it was
so sweet
Botan.
Of her.
Botan was the one that like disassembled it and gave her advice. Like she said, that video card, you treat that like that's your own child right there.
Yeah,
Botan did mention in the stream, like nowadays you can find every single part except for the GPU. So I told her like, if you can't save the other parts, at least save the GPU. That's really, really important. And I'm just like, she knows her stuff. She knows
I
her
love that.
stuff. Like, oh my god. All right. Last VTuber related question.
Hmm.
Um, who do you think is the one VTuber that you think that deserves more attention?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. I have so many friends. It would be so hard to decide anyone, really. Oh gosh.
It's alright. Can be anyone.
I'm going to say, mm, I'm gonna say my friend Penchan. He was really sweet to me, and he was one of the first VTubers who I like. Even before I had a model, I had made like a Twitter like a month or two beforehand, I thought. And he was so sweet to me. Like as soon as he saw me, he reached out to me, like not knowing me, and he really helped me a lot, especially when I first officially started streaming. And he's like, I don't even think he's aware of this, but like he's introduced me to like a lot of his really cool friends, like just by proxy, I suppose. And he was like, like mod me on your Twitch channel, and I'll do you good. And he's just been so helpful and sweet, and he's always there, and he deserves so much more. He's truly so sweet.
Okay.
Oh no, Fluff! I just fluffed here. Fluff's gonna clip it.
Okay, sorry. I had to hydrate because it was redeemed.
No, it's all good. I drank as well. I saw it come up, and it was instinctual.
Alright. Yeah, I heard the little, like, cup of the water or whatever you have. And
Yeah.
okay. I'm glad I didn't have to tell, like, yo, Izumi, do you wanna hydrate as well? Because Shao just redeemed the hydrate.
It's instinctual.
Okay. I will be 100% honest here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because you're my guest. I honestly think you deserve more attention.
I really appreciate
Now,
that.
I have a very specific reason. Reason, alright?
I'm ready.
Now, I watch a fair number of indie VTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing I think you do better than a lot, it's how you seamlessly just bounce off with chat, like, seamlessly.
I appreciate that a lot.
Like,
yeah, I think of chat as my friends.
Yeah, I mean, like, I try to do that all the time, but as a viewer, I just get that immediate vibe from you.
For sure.
Like, it's kind of weird because I'm like, how do you get that vibe, like, off the screen? I'm like, I don't know. That's why she's good at what she does. Like,
I'm really happy. I emulate that so well for you.
it's very
You have no
common
idea.
it's very common in VTuber chats, especially indie VTuber chats. VTuber chats tend to be very wholesome and welcoming. But I gotta say, your chat is definitely one of the most wholesome, welcoming ones I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I feel like because I think a lot of my chat, it's always like people who are already in the community, and then, new people start to join and kind of vibe with everyone else as well. Like, they kind of immediately, I feel like they sort of belong because chat is always so welcoming to like everyone who comes in and says hi who like they're not familiar with. It's really, really sweet. Like, it's so heartwarming, truly.
I know, I mean, like, I noticed in other chats, even for those that, like, the regulars, they still have to sort of, like, break the ice or build rapport, but...
Absolutely.
I mean, with your chat, it almost seems like, I don't know, you're like that fun teacher that everyone wants to be a student of because, like, yeah, we just wanna share in her presence and learn from her stream today and just, interact and stuff.
That's so sweet. Which is really funny because actually, I was talking to one of my friends not too long ago, and it was like the first time we hung out. So we were just asking icebreakers and general questions, and he was like, "Oh, like you're so like affable, when you stream and stuff. Like, have you ever done like public speaking or like does your job have you do like presentations and things like that?" And I was like, "Funny you should say that. I am so shy in real life. I don't know what the difference is." But I guess again, maybe that little bit of anonymity behind an anime girl makes me feel a little more comfortable. I don't know. It's really funny.
That might be the safety thing I mentioned earlier. Like, there's
Absolutely.
this, like, certain wall of safety that I can reach out, but I don't feel a bit hesitant to do so.
You don't feel vulnerable. I get you.
Yeah. All right.
For sure.
That's it for our little trivia casual Q&A. All right, back to the questions. There's still like 5 more to go anyway, or
Yeah.
a little more, I guess. Okay. What are the strengths and weaknesses of VTubing compared to like other forms of content creation and streaming?
So, again, I feel like some of these sort of play into what we already said, but they're still relevant. I broke it down. I wrote little notes for this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I always try to be prepared, but basically, I gave like like pros and three cons. So my three pros were I feel like you have that safety net of the anonymity, and you know what I mean, not having to show your face and things like that, because that can be really jarring for a lot of people as well, and scary because it's also less effort as well in terms of you don't have to like get ready, so to speak, like you don't have to do your makeup or your hair, or you know what I mean, before, because no one can see you, so it doesn't matter what you're wearing or what you look like. Another benefit that I would say is it's really fun to like learn business and time management and communication with other people through VTubing as well, which now granted I suppose you could do that with any sort of streaming anyways, but a little bit of a different niche that you fill as well, and different people that you interact with. And the other thing that I sort of like about VTubing is I feel like compared to other streaming styles, a lot of the people who you're gonna meet tend to be more like-minded, and you'll have more in common with them. Because I mean, what VTuber doesn't like anime, really?
Hmm.
Most of us are inspired by it to some degree. And another positive as well is I think it's really cool to see the different ways that you can express your creativity through VTubing, whether it be through how your model looks or your music choice or your layout or whatever. It could be anything, but it's just such a creative medium. It's really, really cool to see how different everyone is, even though there's so many VTubers. But then some negatives that can come with it as well is I feel like, again, with the model, you can't really naturally emulate body language that you would see like a real life streamer with a webcam use. Like, like I move my hands a lot when I talk, but you can't really tell that. So I
Hmm.
feel like you sort of need to work a little bit harder to be a little bit more personable and emotive to get the same vibe across.
Mm-hmm.
Another negative, as we talked about, is how expensive the setup of the model is.
Yeah.
Not even just the model itself, but you know what I mean? Like, you need a little bit of a better computer for most people to be able to run, games and your model at the same time and things
Yeah.
like that. And I think most VTubers who I know would agree with this. Maybe not everyone, but another thing that sort of sucks about VTubing is a lot of your promoting has to be done through other websites like Twitter. And like
Mm.
buying skebs and things like that as well, which I haven't really seen a lot in other VTubing or in other like sort of streaming styles, but maybe you'd have a little bit more perspective on that as well.
Hmm. Well, actually, I will agree with
Mhm.
everything you just said, actually.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I'll add to that.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
To elaborate on what you said about the limitations of your model, I will
Mhm.
say that the amount of versatility you have for
Mhm.
like your music, your overlay, your overall
Mhm.
logo and theme is just as versatile
Absolutely.
as your model is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like if we were to take, I mean, we both know Hifumi Dot, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Hifumi Dot's model is very one thing I envy about this model is that it's very stylized, but it's also very
Mhm.
versatile. Like because the design of his model is very man, it's very redundant, but it's just versatile. It's not too steeped in a theme. Like you look at me and
Mhm.
Izumi, like straight up, I'm a fox VTuber and she's a bobcat. So
Mhm.
we have to stick to those themes. We cannot veer far too out, or else it'll feel a bit incongruent whenever we market our
Mhm.
stuff, like post on social media and whatnot. But you look at Hifumi, like I've seen how his overlay changes, his even his music choices, and I'm just like, right, he can do all of that because his model allows that. Like
Mhm.
it just allows that. But again,
Absolutely.
for me, like I have to stick to my theme, and
Mhm.
depending on how nuanced and unique your theme is, it can be very easy or it can be very difficult. Like
For
just off the
sure.
top of my head, if you're in the common ground of like what VTubers are, like cat VTuber, mouse VTuber,
Mhm.
fox VTuber, Lion VTuber, whatever, you can fairly find a lot of artists that can like, oh, okay, I know how to do an overlay behind that. Oh, I know how to do a stinger behind that, whatever. But if you're
Mhm.
more specific, like really, really specific,
Mhm.
like off the top of my head, because I watched this shout out is not sponsored by Netflix or Trese, but because I watched Trese, if you were like a manananggal VTuber, I
Mhm.
honestly have no clue how you'd integrate that for everything you have. Now,
Yeah.
just a quick description of what
Mhm.
a manananggal is. It's basically a it's a Filipino it's a Filipino mythological creature, and they can basically separate the top half and the bottom half of their body, and they have wings and a tail, and that's like the most basic. That's the most basic description I can give you. But the fact that it's very particular, and there's not
Mhm.
many people familiar with what the manananggal is, it's very difficult to like, crap, what's a good music that will fit this theme? What's a good
Yeah,
logo that will fit
absolutely.
this theme? But if you were something like a dragon or a cat, there's a lot that you can play around with.
Mhm.
Now, to add though to that, the strength is that you'll stand out a lot more. That's for sure with a VTuber. You'll stand out a lot more, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And even though there's a fair number of Fox VTubers, I'm not sure if I've seen other Bobcat VTubers.
It's just cat adjacent.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to simplify it because like I don't want to say Izumi's a cat VTuber. I mean, isn't
I
every
mean, it
it
is what it. You
is.
know what I
It is
mean?
what it is, but I don't want to simplify it. But
No,
yeah,
absolutely.
but basically you kind of get my point here. Like, even if
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
like a family of like Fox VTubers, cat VTubers, because
Mhm.
every individual had to go through a certain process to make theirs unique, it stands out.
Mhm. For sure.
And that's one of the strengths, I think. Like, people will immediately should be able to immediately differentiate you from another VTuber, and there's almost no similarities, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Like, there's barely any similarities. I mean, even if I were very fluent in Japanese, and if I was a girl, like, I don't think I could even be compared to Fubuki, for example. She's a Fox VTuber.
Yeah,
She's a Fox
absolutely.
VTuber, but even my just design alone and my
Mhm.
personal personality, it's very different.
Mhm.
And to some extent, even non VTuber personalities, although their delivery might be different, and their overall vibe can be different and unique, people easily just lump them together.
For
Like,
sure, for sure.
they just easily lump all the fighting game content creators in the same, like, like, what's the difference between watching, I mean, I'm not sure if you watch Tekken content creators, but I'll just use this as an example. Like, what's the difference between watching me, JDCR, Saint? They're all Korean Tekken 7 pros, really good. But unless you're like really, really astute, you can almost not tell the difference,
Mhm.
even if they have their own take. But with a VTuber, it stands out a lot more. And it kind of hides a lot of their similarities with other VTubers. Like, I don't know how, but it's just something I really noticed.
No, that's fair. That's a really good perspective as well.
Now, in my opinion, this is a little like specific, and I
Mhm.
wouldn't say it applies to every VTuber. But if you're a VTuber that separates your personal life from your VTuber, it's difficult.
Mhm.
Like, for me, I only have to do that half, like 50%. I only have to
Yep.
separate 50% of myself to be in Arioko.
Mhm.
But if you were someone who's like straight up like yeah, my VTubers is a separate entity. That must be really exhausting.
I
And
can't even
if you
imagine.
do it really well, it's even harder because you cannot
Mhm.
afford to slip up even once. Like, whoa, that was so off character. What happened? People will notice it
Mhm.
a lot more. And depending on how off character you are, that can work in your favor, or that can like be a big slip up. That in my opinion, is also like one of the strengths and weaknesses of VTubing.
For sure.
Yep. All right, next question. With the sudden rise of VTubers, a lot of VTubers tend to make understandable yet common mistakes. What are some of the more common mistakes or pitfalls that new VTubers in particular should look out for?
I think the biggest thing that new VTubers sort of burn themselves out on, I want to say, is when they compare themselves to others' growth. Um, some people first starting off are just luckier than others, but I think a
Mm.
lot of people became interested in VTubing from hearing about and watching like really big corporate VTubers like Hololive or
Yeah.
like Niji, and it's so easy to watch their debuts, and the first week or whatever they could get like 30, 40, 50K subs, and that doesn't happen to everyone. All of those
Mm.
VTubers are very talented and they absolutely, they got their auditions. They deserve to be where they are, but it's also so easy to see them and, compare yourself when your growth doesn't go so good, or even on a smaller level, just to like your friends and things like that as well. I feel like it's really easy for people to compare themselves to and feel a little burned out on, but absolutely, like VTubing is your very own personal journey. It's not going to be the same for everyone.
Mm. And I think okay, like as I mentioned before, the
Mhm.
one of the main goals of this is really to educate people on VTubing in general. So,
Mhm.
to add to that, I just want to remind every aspiring VTuber out there that corpo VTubers are practically self-perpetuating. They're part of a big
Mhm.
company, which makes them big regardless of how they do. Now, I don't
Ex-
mean I'm not attacking any VTuber whatsoever. No, absolutely not. I'm not
mhm.
um stealing their credit and um crediting it to, well, their corporate. What do you expect? But to some
Yeah.
extent, you cannot ignore the fact that you kind of expect them to be big because they're part of a big company. It's just really how that works.
Mhm.
Big company has a big market. They expect everything that comes from that company to be big. That's why it sells. And
Mhm.
my favorite example for this, Crazy Ollie. One of her milestones was to reach 100,000 subs. She did it on her debut.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even without, like, I tried to separate her entity from Hololive. If I
Mhm.
separated her from Hololive, I'm like, she's gonna make it big because she'd still make it big as an indie VTuber, because if there's one thing that Crazy Ollie has compared to other VTubers from Hololive,
Mhm.
she's literally a clip factory.
Yeah,
Everything
absolutely.
she does is clippable.
Mhm.
And again, even despite how many generations across how many branches you have, Holo Japan, Holo EN, Holo ID, Holo Stars,
Mhm.
they're all really unique and they're all big.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
again, if you compare yourself, especially as an indie VTuber, if you compare yourself to them, com- I would say, eh, honestly, it's unavoidable. You will compare yourself, but
Mhm.
compare yourself rationally. Like, I won't say that it's an unrealistic goal to have if you want to be as big as Gura. No, it's an admirable goal. But you
Mhm.
have to take into account and understand, what did she have to do to be that big. You
Mhm.
have to
Absolutely.
you have to do your research and really understand the whole big thing. Like, how is it that Gura reached 3M subs before any other Hololive talent out there?
Mhm.
On top of being like Hololive, she just really hit the nail on a lot of Hololive viewer and VTuber viewer checklists. She's just really appealing to watch. And again, if you were to compare yourself to corpo VTubers, you can compare I guess, like, what they do to innovate, and you try to translate that into your own platform. You can take ideas from them. I mean, if you want to be the best, you learn from the best. And to be fair, corporate VTubers are literally the king of the market, so why not learn from them? But
Absolutely.
do not compare yourself to them, because that, I mean, sorry. Let me reword that. Do not compare yourself to them the same way you do yourself as if you were a corpo VTuber, because you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that in the nicest and most positive way possible. Like, I mean, this will be a question later, but again, there are people who are willing to be corpo VTubers and who are willing to be indie VTubers. And it comes
Mm-hmm.
with their own strengths and weaknesses. And you have to accept those and come to peace with it. And also remind yourself of those strengths and weaknesses whenever you compare yourself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
personally, I compare myself a lot to Coco Kiryu because I've just, like, I'm inspired by her so much. Not even by the design or anything, but basically how she's influenced not just the viewers, but VTubers in general, and how she wants to make everyone want to watch her, like, understand what she does and enjoy her. That's why she tried to, no, not tried. That's why she did what she did to reach out to the overseas audience. And that's also why, personally, like, that's why I identify myself as an English, Japanese, and Filipino VTuber, because I want to reach out to every audience that may want to watch me. Like, I want to make the experience really nice for them. That's
Mm-hmm.
the aspect. But I am not grilling myself whenever I have only a certain number of viewers or only a certain number of followers or whatnot on Twitter. Like, no, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm not saying it won't. I hope it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you're bothered at the slightest, just try your best to remember that these people who are in Hololive or Nijisanji, they're part of a corporate group. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
a whole different game. Like, just to use a more in real life metaphor, it's like comparing street basketball to, you know, professional NBA. Exactly.
100%. No, I completely get you.
All right. So, as a follow up to my point a while ago, if given the chance, would you join a corpo company VTube group or would you stay indie?
I think, I'm sure if the opportunity ever presented itself, it would be a really difficult decision because,
Mm,
so many benefits with both. I would like to think that I would stay indie though,
mm,
just because I feel, again, I can see the benefits of, you're being managed so you can feel maybe like a little bit safer and whatever. But then on the reverse of that, I think I would just feel like I would lose a lot of freedom from that. And one of my favorite things is, being able to kind of do or say whatever I want within, Twitch TOS.
mm,
And I feel like that flexibility of it is really what makes streaming a lot of fun for me.
mm.
Not having, not feeling pressured to like act or behave a certain way or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. Completely agree. Now, funny story and real story, by the
Mm-hmm.
way. Prior to my debut, a friend of mine shared a tweet that
Mm-hmm.
there's a company in the country I'm staying at
Mm-hmm.
that started, like, literally just started. Like, we are a company that wants to handle or produce Filipino talent for Filipino VTubers. I'm like, are you kidding me? I just paid how much for my model and rig, my overlay, my cover art, my stingers, a lot of my assets, and this comes up. But then at the same time, I immediately like, ah, yeah, there's no way I'd take this offer, even though it's a
I
tempting
know.
offer. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
the big difference between a corpo company VTuber and an indie VTuber, honestly, is really freedom.
100%.
The only thing you're bound by are the rules of the platform you're on. But
Mm-hmm.
as part of a corporate company VTuber, you're bound by their branding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Hololive likes to present their talent as idols. That's why
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of thing
Yeah.
that's not allowed.
Yep.
And I mean, if I were a corpo VTuber, I am 99% positive that this collab right now would not happen. Why?
100%.
Because Izumi is independent. Like, I just have a gut feel. Like,
For sure, for sure.
my manager or my corp my or whatever our brand manager be like, I don't think it's a good idea, you shouldn't do that. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
well, you think that, but I think otherwise. I wouldn't have that problem
Mhm.
if I'm an indie VTuber because I am my own boss.
Yeah, you play by your own
I
rules.
play by my own rules. I can be say so or say so, it doesn't matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
But as an extension also, if there is one tempting factor of a
Mhm.
corpo company VTuber, you don't have to worry about any financial issues whatsoever.
100%,
And
absolutely.
to sort of backtrack to my previous question as the common mistakes and pitfalls, it also
Mhm.
plays into this. That's why my question was exactly this. If you
For
were a
sure.
corporate VTuber, one of the common mistakes you would make is probably, well, it's a common mistake regardless if you're corporate or indie. Time management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I am
100%.
glad that a lot of my viewers and even my other sibling VTubers were like very concerned when I released my schedule last week. And
Mhm.
one of them was Fenris there. I wanted to properly shout out Fenris. Fenris did tell me directly through comments on Twitter, like, yo, are you sure about this? This is, you're streaming for like 6 hours. It's no joke. I'm like, well, I have done it before as a content creator, a streamer.
Mhm.
Yeah, but VTubing is different. It requires a lot more energy. I'm like, I'll take note of that. Thank you for the concern, but I think I prepared for this.
Mhm. You know
And
yourself better than anyone else.
yeah, I'm glad that the risk was within range of the experience, but I'm also glad that
Mhm.
people did warn me ahead of time. But
For sure.
again, this is also a problem very common in corporate and company VTubers. Like, if you've noticed recently,
Mhm.
even if you don't follow their Twitter accounts, a lot of Hololive talents recently have been taking like week 1 week off or like a weekend off to rest. And
Mhm.
I'm just glad a lot of their viewers and fans are very supportive. Like, yeah, please take a break. You deserve it, etc., etc. And I'm just like, wow, the fact that even they experienced that problem, like, I kind of expected that they did, but the fact that they actually do, I'm like, whew,
For sure.
glad that not only indie VTubers commit that mistake, but I think indie VTubers in particular make that mistake more often than not because we feel, yeah, I say we because I'm an indie VTuber and I make this mistake too. We feel like we have to do more to get more back.
Absolutely.
And again, for me personally, the end goal is not what attracts me. If anything, it's the journey that attracts me towards that end goal. That's what keeps me
Mhm.
going. But again, there's also that common temptation to, like, I can push a little more, like, 2 more hours. I think I got this. And sorry to call you out, Izumi, but I did catch you several times on your stream. I'm just like, what? Like, she's been streaming for 5 hours. And okay, I'll just lurk a bit while I attend class. I finish class. She's still streaming. And even like at your end, the end of your stream when you're interacting with chat, it's like, don't worry guys, I'll end in like 30 minutes. And Dongil is like, that's a lie, she's gonna stream for another hour. I'm like,
You guys
oh
know
no.
me so well. This is my brand, my casual 8-hour streams.
Like, if anything, I would definitely compare you to Korone when it comes to like endurance. I have no clue how you do it. Like,
Well, yeah, that's so fair. I'm really lucky that I don't really have like I live at home with my parents because I'm still in school, so I'm really
mm,
lucky that I don't have responsibilities and things like that. That's how I'm able to do it.
like, honestly, like, Corona did mention several times that she was reprimanded by her manager, like, yo,
Yeah,
stop!
stop
Get
that right
some
now.
sleep! She's like, I can do no, you can, but don't. And one of the
Yeah.
jokes, one of the jokes during Coco Kiryu's like Reddit meme review was
Mhm.
like she put a timestamp like she always does, like, oh, it's gonna be from 12 o'clock Japan Standard Time. And then the meme was like Korone put there forever Japan Standard Time. I'm like, oh no, that's totally on brand for Korone. But yes, that is a very common pitfall. And if you're not part of a company or corporate VTuber, you have
Mhm.
this temptation to overspend. That's very dangerous, by the way. It's very, very dangerous.
Mhm.
So yeah, be. I know it's very tempting to spend quite a lot, but in my opinion, my advice also is that if you're gonna spend a lot, spend the most when you begin.
Mhm.
Like in my opinion, you want everything you need at the start, because
Mhm.
that way you're forced to save up money. Because if you start off like right off the bat and then you have like, oh wait, I want to add this asset, oh I want to add this emote, oh I want to add this animated background, oh I want to add this overlay, oh I want to music and whatnot, and then you check there's, then you get the quotations, you're like, oh,
Uh-oh, yeah.
like okay, my calculations were, my math is bad, but boy were my calculations way off.
I love that quote.
But if you were, again, if you plan to spend so much at the beginning, at least you were already like forced to save up, and you would have
Mhm.
delayed your debut up to that point. But this temptation happens worse or more often if you debut and then you're like, wait, I feel like I should spend more. You wouldn't have this
Mhm.
temptation if you spent more prior to, to your debut for like your assets, your model, whatnot, because everything is set, and like at the start at least you're good to go. You can worry about other stuff. Okay. Okay, we did cover this, but I wanted to go in depth.
Yeah, for sure.
Should indie VTubers or VTubers in general compare themselves to the big names from, you know, Hololive, Nijisanji, Bishojo, etc.?
Yeah, so for my notes for that, I said no, and I went through the same thing. Like they deserve to be where they are, but that's not like those numbers aren't natural for anyone else. It's it comes with being part of a big corporation and company or whatever you want to call it. However, I think on the flip, you can compare yourself to them in the terms of you know what I mean. Like if there's something that you admire about one of them, I don't think it's absolutely possible that you could compare yourself to them and then want to, work harder to be more like the things that you really like about them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Maybe if, I don't know, if, maybe you like Botan and you want to be pro FPS gamer, absolutely. But, obviously it can be more deeper than that. That's pretty surface level. In terms of, channel growth and things like that, I don't think you should compare yourself to anyone else. But in terms of, again, like, things that you want to work on yourself, I think it's healthy to compare yourself. It's always good
Hmm.
to have a goal that you want to work towards.
Well, for this question, I think regardless if it was a yes or no, I think it would be unavoidable, really, that people would
For
compare
sure.
themselves.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
the should, or I think the should part is not relevant here. I really just put it
Mhm.
there because it's just more of a, it's to, what's the word for it? It's to introduce the whole issue of the, redundant, but the whole issue of comparing yourself to big names.
Yeah,
The should
absolutely.
part isn't the problem, but that's what starts it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
People forget that they shouldn't, even though they find
Mhm.
themselves comparing. They shouldn't,
Mhm.
because again, you are indie. You're not
Absolutely.
corpo. You don't hear. You don't. You shouldn't. There. You shouldn't find a casual like you shouldn't find a casual football player comparing themselves to Messi or Ronaldo. They'll
Mm-hmm.
idolize them, they'll want to emulate them, but if they're just playing for fun, not professionally, they wouldn't have to like compare their every kick, every pass they do to them, of course. It's not fair, in my opinion. It's just not fair. Because
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
these professionals, they have a budget behind them, they have a manager behind them, they
Mm-hmm.
have a huge fan base behind them. But with that also comes pressure. Like, some
Mm-hmm.
people welcome the pressure, some people can deal with it, but it is also something that you have to look out for, even as an indie VTuber, as you grow.
Absolutely, 100%.
So when you do find yourself comparing yourself to big names, just don't lose sight of who you are. Don't forget about who you are, and I mean that in the most honestly good way possible. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a corpo VTuber, and there's also nothing wrong with being an indie VTuber. And again, this was by choice and by opportunity. So, in my opinion, you either just accept it and welcome it, or you just get ready for the next step in your VTubing life, I guess. Because, I don't know, there might be a chance that you'll get an offer, or I don't know, maybe a DM from somewhere that, hey, do you want to join this corpo VTubing company? Or to put it more realistically, there will be several opportunities in the future that will really boost you as a brand, and it may elevate you beyond being an individual VTuber. But prior to that, you should remember who you are, your limitations, and of course, I'm not saying jail yourself to those limitations. No, don't be a slave to your limitations. If anything, try to break them. But of course, don't forget who you are. I mean, just to use a very crude metaphor, but if you were to judge a fish on its ability to fly, that fish would think it's stupid. Like, again, it's a very crude metaphor, but that's kind of the point I'm driving here.
Mm-hmm. It does the job 100%. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, like a fish can only do so much. An indie VTuber can
Mm-hmm.
only do so much. A corporate VTuber does things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't. It's not fair to compare yourself to several extents. Like, why am I not as successful as this VTuber? Or how can I be as successful as them? I'm not
Mm.
saying you can't be, but the reasons why you aren't like that right now is completely fair and understandable.
100%. And I think a lot of people also sort of forget that again, like these girls didn't just randomly get picked. Like they auditioned, they
They
worked hard for this.
audition,
You
they
know,
work
they're
hard,
already experienced streamers. This isn't new to them, like a lot of people would think.
and I just also want to remind everyone that just because they are successful doesn't mean they don't have pressure. No, the pressure is still really hard.
Mm. a
Just
hundred
to
percent.
give an example, Noelle is very conscious about her inability to sing. And personally, that hurts me. Because, like, I get it that your model is an idol, and there's this, like, stigma, like, what? An idol that can't sing? What the hell? That's not an idol. So, she
Mm-hmm.
might have that ugly thought in her mind. That's why she's very self conscious. And I'm just like, damn, that sucks because I'm like, she's still very fun to watch, but I can understand from a company perspective, like, yo, we need to teach Noel how to sing. We can't have an idol VTuber that can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she understands that aspect as well. That's why she also tries to improve her singing. And personally, I'm glad she wants to improve her singing, but the reasoning behind it, I'm just like, it's not completely altruistic or like personal. And
Yeah.
not like it robs the whole pureness of the willingness to, improve the singing, but it just makes it sadder, in my opinion.
Yeah, it feels less organic. Like not that she wants to learn for herself, but because she feels like she's being forced to.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's my driving point here. Like, there are a lot
Mhm.
of indie VTubers. I will argue a lot of indie VTubers can sing, and and sort of like an inspiration to other indie VTubers out there. We
Mhm.
compare ourselves to corporate VTubers a lot. It's in the realm of possibilities. Who are we to say that they are not comparing themselves to indie VTubers? Even at least once.
Mhm.
Especially since some of them were content creators before. So that their memories as one, their experiences as an individual content creator does tempt them several times. Or it does come into their train of thought sometimes. So
Mhm.
sort of like, don't feel bad. It's another reason why you shouldn't feel bad that you're comparing yourself to a corporate VTuber. Why? They are probably doing the same thing towards individual VTubers. They probably miss several aspects of being an individual content creator, an individual VTuber. So basically, um, I want to say it's a more optimistic perspective or take on the whole the grass is greener on the other side uh, line of thinking. Like everyone wants to, man, they're so popular, they're so big. I want that. Like it's expected that you want that. Oh, I hate it when my voice cracks. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah, we have this like, man, I want that. I want their success. I want what they want. I want what they have. But to some extent, we should welcome the thought that, they might want what we have right now too. Because if there's one
The
thing
grass.
I embrace so much as an indie VTuber, I literally have liberty over whatever I do.
Mhm. Absolutely. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yep. And again, like, a lot of people have a very realistic and dark take on it, but I want to take a lighter side and a more optimistic take on it.
Mhm.
Like, just because you think that the grass is greener on the other side, don't forget that someone out there is probably thinking the same thing towards what you have right now.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right. Now, lastly, for the um to close off the formal part of this podcast, do you have any final words to our listeners, or personal shoutouts to your schedule and to our respective fan bases? The Basically, the red carpet's yours.
Oh, I mean, oh god, oh my speech. Oh, I'm getting nervous.
Go
You know,
ahead.
I was so glad that I was able to be your first podcast guest. I really appreciate that you're willing to work with me on my schedule because, of course we couldn't do it last week, unfortunately.
Hmm.
And I'm really happy that I had the opportunity. It was a really fun experience. I'm glad that I got to like vibe and, talk about I get, things that I don't really talk about with other people. It was really interesting to hear your perspective as well, especially because, again, you're a more experienced streamer. And yeah, it was just fun
Hmm.
to hang out with everyone. I would like to thank my two mods, Dong and Fluffed, for being here. Very supportive. Absolute chads. And
That
yeah.
is awesome. For me, I would definitely say, like, it was a genuine honor and pleasure to have you over as my first guest.
Aw.
Like, personally, I would rather postpone this repeatedly just to have you as my first guest. Just to
Oh
have you
my
as my first
god, you're
guest.
too sweet.
And I swear, like, I was not bragging, but I was just, can I use this word? I was just fawning over the fact that you were willing to, like, spend one of your leaves just for this stream. I'm just like,
Oh my god, of
I'm a
course.
complete stranger. I'm just a viewer and a fan, but she's just willing to, go out of her way just to provide for this fellow indie VTuber. I'm just
Oh
like,
my god, absolutely. I think everyone becomes a VTuber, or I mean, not even just VTubing, but becomes interested in streaming for so many different reasons. And they're all great and amazing and valid reasons. The reason why I chose VTubing was because I wanted to meet more like-minded people and make more friends, and that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm really happy that I've been able to do that so far, and I think of you as a friend, so I was happy to hang out with you.
okay, okay, not gonna lie, I blushing right now. And as an introvert, like the fact that I just met a complete stranger and you just called me a friend, I'm like, can I call her a friend?
Yeah,
I
I was gonna
want
say, I
to.
know some people have that weird boundary where they're like, oh, I've only talked to you 10 times, we're not friends, but I'm like, no, as soon as you're in chat, whether you want it or not, we're friends. I don't care.
See, this is exactly why I mentioned that you are one of those VTubers that deserve more attention.
That's so sweet. I really appreciate that. And I mean, likewise, of course, you've been doing amazing so far.
Well,
And I wish you all the best.
thank you. The one aspect that I retained from my previous content creation experience is that I persevered, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I'm a very resilient streamer.
You kind of have to be.
And yep, as Dongil just mentioned, nobody escapes being Izumi's homie. Yay.
That's just it. As soon as you say a word in chat, I'm sorry, your fate is sealed.
Well, I guess I can, without hesitation, call you a friend then.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking of you as my friend for so long, so I'm glad that now we're on the same page.
Awesome, because until this point, I'm just been on that area of like, I want to call her
Are
a
we
friend,
friends?
but
Are we not? I get you.
can I actually call her a friend?
Nope, too bad. You're friends whether you want it or
Too
not.
bad. Too bad. Like, too bad. You're a friend, so I'm like, that's like
Too bad.
telling me, are you sure you want to pay for my meal? Too bad, I'm paying for it. To be fair, I do that a lot to my friends in real life. Like whenever we eat
Absolutely.
out, a lot of them like, yo, are you sure you wanna Libre is Tagalog for like we pay for it or it's free. Like, you wanna make Libre for lunch? Yeah, dude, no problem, I got you. Like, did you think I invited you without the intention to do this? So I'm kind of like getting that vibe from you, like, do you think I started this stream without the intention of making friends with everyone who watches me?
Of course. And I'm glad we view it the same way.
God.
I think it's a really great outlook to have.
Alright. That ends the formal part, but I wanna... Don't worry, Dongel. I'll make sure I end the stream on time so that Izumi doesn't overdo it. I'll just spend the next few minutes just for a little, like, casual talk or Q&A from the viewers that I'm glad some of you held back with the questions while we were talking. If you have any questions towards any of us, please feel free to ask now. I'll just talk with Izumi about stuff, I guess.
Just things and stuff. Oh, wait, hold on. You asked me who my favorite anime character was, but who's yours?
Alright. Okay, that's a tricky one, but...
It is. You can pick a boy and a girl if that makes it easier.
Good lord. Oh god, I watch a lot of anime, and the thing is, not a lot of them are mainstream either, so I can't
for sure
easily pick one.
I get you.
But if I were to pick one, like my favorite anime character of all time, man, there's like 3 of them. They're like...
Okay, let's hear them.
They're okay, fine.
I'm not picky.
Okay, one of them is definitely Violet Evergarden.
Ooh, good taste.
Like the amount of character growth she went from episode 1 over the whole
Mm-hmm.
season, the OVA, and the movie. I'm just like, that is why I stand KyoAni, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've always made really, really aesthetically pleasing anime, but man, Violet Evergarden really came into its own.
Yeah, like I kept telling my friends that I couldn't stop fawning over the cinematography of the
It's so beautiful.
because because I'm a com arts major and I did study
Mm-hmm.
like uh video production and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. So there are several parts of the movie like, oh crap, I studied this. I've studied this in university. I can't believe they just applied it. You don't see a lot of that in anime. That's why when I saw it in Violet Evergarden, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, they actually did that. They actually did a time lapse. Oh my god. Oh god. Another favorite character, I'd say, in my opinion, because she's like the first badass female character I ever saw in an anime, I'd say Riza Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, fair.
Like, she's not she's not sexualized at all. Her hairstyle is
Mm-hmm.
tasteful. Her like weapon of choice, a fucking pistol, and CQC. And I'm just like, you see her dynamism with Roy Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can argue that the one calling the shots is still Risa Hawkeye.
For
even
sure.
even though Roy Mustang in term of rank is higher, like
Mm-hmm.
he's still sort of like um makes sure that any decision he makes is within acceptable uh acceptable levels as for Risa stand Hawkeye stand. I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
that's hella cool. It's hella cool. Um, lastly, my other favorite character. Hmm. Hmm. This is not easy. This is not easy at all. Fred. Because I'm not a picky person. That's the problem. That's like if someone asked me, "What's your favorite food?" Oh no. Darn it. I like all
Mm-hmm.
food. Um. Oh wait. Wait. Before I tangent into Stomp Potatoes question, I want to answer the third favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Anime character though. Anime character. I would say. I would say. I would say Erwin Smith from Attack on Titan.
Fair.
Yeah, there's just something about his whole philosophy. And as a
Mm-hmm.
philosophy major, like a lot of the ideas that he expressed, I'm just like, yo,
It resonates.
it resonates with me so much. Like, especially that
Mm-hmm.
one scene where he asks Eren, like, who do you think is the real enemy here? I'm like, I know what that's implying right there. I know the implications of that line. And I'm just like, you, sir, have my attention. Like, even prior to me finding out that he was voiced by Daisuke Ono, one of my favorite Japanese
Dude,
VAs.
okay, listen, good taste.
You'd get along well with my friend because she is a Daisuke Ono stan.
Good taste, good taste. I
Literally.
love that.
But yeah, prior to me finding out, I'm like, wait. Because when I heard him speak, I'm like, he sounds like Daisuke Ono. I've heard that voice several times. Really good job.
Oh, that's so great.
Alright, just a slight tangent. Stonk Potato
Mhm.
asks, you're using 2D model right now. Would you transaction to 3D model in the future if possible? I'd give a straight up no because of the budget. Straight up.
That's so fair. That's a really good question. Also, Stonk Potato is an amazing name. I just want to throw that out there. I think for me, and now I don't have a negative bias towards 3D VTubers. Like a lot of my friends are, and like I watch them, and that's absolutely not a problem. But I find 2D VTubing is just more interesting to me aesthetically because I feel like there's more artistic expression involved
Mm.
as opposed to 3D. And now, granted, I've seen some really amazing 3D models, but it doesn't translate the same.
I agree. And again, the most unappealing thing about 3D is the budget. It's
Yeah,
not it's not
absolutely.
even the model itself.
No,
You
just the
do
equipment you
realize
need.
that the equipment you need
It's
is
so expensive.
expensive. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you thought like I can argue that even with a cheap setup, I'm sorry, I hate using the word cheap.
Affordable, we can
Affordable,
say.
yeah.
Yeah,
With an
yeah.
affordable setup, with an affordable setup,
Mm-hmm.
you can still have all of your expenditures go towards your live 2D model. Like if you
Absolutely.
weigh out the difference, how much did I spend on my rig compared to my model? You can
Mm-hmm.
still have your live 2D model weigh way more than your rig. But when it
100%.
comes to 3D, like there
Yeah.
is no compromise whatsoever. There's
Mm-hmm.
no
And
compromise.
absolutely. And that's the thing too. Like I guess, you do spend a lot of money on assets for like 2D VTubing, of course like your rigging and your art, but like in terms of like real life physical things that you need, it's really I mean, you can go expensive or you can go a little more affordable, but like a webcam or of some degree is really all you need. I mean, of course, I went the opposite end and I have an iPad, so I could not have spent more money, but it's a little more appealing, I suppose, that
Hmm.
you don't need all sorts of fancy equipment to take up
But
space on your desk or whatever.
but I mean, to be fair, Izumi, you can also argue
Mhm.
that well, VTube Studio accepts iPad as a camera, so I may as well use it. I save a couple of
Absolutely.
bucks not buying
Absolutely.
another webcam, so I may as well. So
Mm-hmm.
why not?
100%. I completely agree.
All right, your Chad mod Dongil asked if you picked one VTuber to swap lives with for a day, who would it be and why? Oh boy.
Oh my god. Dong, do you mean as the character, I suppose? God, that's such a good question.
Well, for me,
Oh
the
my god.
answer is very, very simple. I would immediately swap with Kiryu Coco just so I know what goes in her head for
Yeah.
24 hours. I want to know what is cooking up in that head of hers. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's so tempting to find out. Like, it's very interesting.
I think I'd want to be Callie so I can learn how to play the kazoo and then come back and play the kazoo.
Oh, funny you mentioned the kazoo because I did see your tweet that you bought Monster Hunter recently. And I'm
Yes.
like, I wonder if she knows that Omaru Polka can play the theme of Monster Hunter on a kazoo.
Oh, I know. It's so cool. God, yeah. I wish I got as into Monster Hunter Rise as I did World. It's too
Oh,
bad.
as a person who has played Monster Hunter Rise, believe me,
Mm-hmm.
um, once you play Monster Hunter Rise, you cannot go back to World.
I know, that's the thing too. Like I really loved Rise, but I think it's because like I played World like the entire thing, both like the
Hmm,
expansion and base game like with a group of friends,
same.
and not all those friends had a Switch, so it was only the two of us, and you know what I mean? It's not as fun when you only have two people.
Yeah, yeah, but your friends won't have to wait too long because the PC version of Rise should be coming out next year.
That's so true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like,
And I'll probably
aha.
buy it again.
Same here. I'm like day one. I'm double dipping because
I know,
I
I
love
know.
Monster Hunter Rise that much.
It's so
It's
good.
that good.
The cosmetics in that game are unrivaled though. Oh my gosh.
The moment you said, no, the moment you said you bought it, I'm like, it's probably because of the cat ear layered armor, right? And I saw it right
Yeah,
there. I'm like,
yeah.
aha.
Yeah. Granted, I bought Rise on launch, of course, but yeah, I had to buy those ears as soon as I saw them. How could I not?
I didn't buy Monster Hunter Rise on launch because my budget was
Hmm.
still kind of tight.
That's
But
fair.
the moment a lot of my friends who played World said like, "Yo, you
It's
should get
so
Rise," I'm like,
good.
okay. And worse was that during that week it came out, I just
Mm.
check all of the Hololive talents I'm subscribed to. Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter. I'm like, duh!
They're all
I
yeah,
have to get it
yeah.
now, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that meme. It's like that meme. Like during that month,
Mm-hmm.
the three dynasties that were ruling Japan at that time was Apex Legends, Monster Hunter, and was it Resident Evil? I think it was Resident Evil.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, Resident Evil 8. You're right.
Just that whole period, every
Mm-hmm.
Hololive and Niji-san Talent was just playing any of those three games. I'm just like, well, they're really good games, I gotta say.
Absolutely.
Alright. We're gonna hit the 2 hour mark in like 10 minutes, so I'm gonna end this in about 10 minutes.
For sure.
Rest assured. Rest assured, Dong, I'll make sure that Izumi doesn't go beyond the allotted time for once.
You have to keep me in line because God knows I won't.
Oh, okay. Here's another thing I did want to ask.
Mhm.
Who is one VTuber you really want to collab with?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I suppose I haven't really thought of collabing with other people outside of like my immediate friends. I would really like to collab with my friend Fukumi at some point. She's really sweet, and I just feel like I love her energy because like I sometimes her energy is so opposite, but then sometimes it's like the exact same, and I feel like that would be a really interesting combination of personalities, we'll say.
Ah, I see. Okay, that's fair. For me,
Mhm.
immediate VTuber that came to mind, I have to say, I want to collab with Ini Bantai. The moment
Eni is great. You
the
would love Eni.
moment I found out that she's was part Filipino?
Yeah. I'm not sure actually. I think full, but I could be wrong. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
because she said her family's from like she's Ilocano. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, you have to be more specific because the moment you said Ilocano, I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm Ilocano. We can't be from the same region though. When she said
Yeah.
she's from this region, I'm like, I'm from this region. Then she said, oh, you know what? My father's family is actually from that region. I'm like, oh, just like every Filipino family out there, huh?
That's so good. Yeah, Eni is really great. Eni has like the best vibes and like I know you play like a lot of fighting games, so like if you're interested in D&D at all, like oh my god, Eni is so great with anything to do with that.
Noted. But yeah, the first thing that like it's a meme at this point, but whenever a Filipino
Mhm.
content creator finds out that there's another content creator out there that's
Mhm.
Filipino, there's an immediate pull. And
Yeah,
I have to say,
absolutely.
I'm just like, well, I'm gonna confirm that meme, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'm just like the fact that she's Filipino, I'm just like, I wonder just how Filipino she is. And I did interact with her lightly on her stream. Like, I asked her, do you know, is there a Jollibee near
Mhm,
you?
mhm.
And she's like, yeah, I live like 5 minutes away from one. I'm like, that's as Filipino as you can get. The moment you said you live 5 minutes away from a Jollibee.
That's great. Yeah, I think you'd have a ton of fun. Eni is so versatile and like super easy to get along with. Such a vibe.
Speaking of which, have you tried Jollibee?
I've not. I don't have any near me. Is it a really good time though?
You should try you
Should
should
I journey to
try.
one?
You should, because again, I cannot vouch for the quality outside the Philippines, but I mean,
Hmm.
it shouldn't be hard because the specialty of Jollibee is not even the burgers, it's the chicken.
Right.
And
Okay, cool.
here in the Philippines, I will argue
Hmm.
that I would rather eat Jollibee chicken over any other chicken. At least any other fast
Nice.
food chicken out there.
For sure, for sure.
And Inibantay did mention that um like there's something about the gravy. I'm like, oh fam, I agree. There's just something about the
I
gravy of Jollibee that's just it's way up there.
Mhm.
And honestly, like Izumi, just to like sort of meme on well, my fellow countrymen that I'm sharing this whole weather hellscape with. Like, the moment you say a Tagalog word or you say, this chicken joy is really good, trust me, like, you'll just get a lot of follows from Filipino viewers right off the bat.
I love that. That's so great. That's the meta. That's the strat.
That's a stretch. Oh my god. Oh. Man, I just realized, like, I got so engrossed in the whole podcast that I forgot to change code a couple of times. I forgot to say the parts in Japanese and the parts that I could. Oh my god. えーっと、突然ですけど、日本人のビューアーさんたち、翻訳するのことが、すっかり忘れてしまったのですみませんでした。本当に。And by the way, I've been told that like Japanese Inari Yoko is very different from English Inari Yoko. And
I love
there's
that
a
for you.
certain viewer here. I think she's still here. Dana. Dana was the first one to like sort of put it out there. You can check my VOD for getting over it with Bennett Foddy.
I'm on it.
She did redeem. You just look for the part when Dana redeemed the code change.
Yeah.
I had to speak Japanese for 5 minutes. And I noticed also that. Wait a minute. Why did I just tilt faster? Why am I more pissed when I'm in Japanese mode?
Makes
And
you
yeah,
angry.
she did mention like, yo, Japanese Inari hits different than English Inari. I'm like,
I love that.
and I just added, well, chat is glad you didn't ask me to code change in Tagalog. God help you if someone did. It's just very different.
A threatening aura. I love that.
I wouldn't say threatening aura, I'd say it's a cautionary aura. Like, I hate to say it, and this is the stigma I want to change. It's also another reason why I got into VTubing, actually. Like, there is this stigma that Filipino gamers tend to be very toxic.
That's fair.
It's a harsh fact that I have accepted over the years, and I really honestly want to change that.
Yeah. Do you think it comes from being like more competitive?
That's one common thing that we chalk it up to, because Filipino gamers are just very competitive in general.
For sure.
Like, one example, if we are losing, like, you expect, like, if we're losing, we'll trash talk our teammates. That's expected. But when we're
Obviously.
winning hard, we'll also trash talk our enemies for, why are you so easy? Oh my god, ang
love that.
hihina nyo. Oh my god, mag-uninstall na lang kayo, mga. No, I can't even finish that line. I'm just like, oh no, the toxicity is embracing me. I can't do it.
We have to play some competitive shooters sometime.
Oh my god, like, if you were to play Valorant in Asia, God help you if you have a Filipino on your teammate. Because you have to flip a coin. They're either... I will say that we are fairly good at Valorant, but you have to flip a coin. They're either really cracked and, like, wholesome, or they're really cracked and they're Dr. Disrespect. Like, that's really it. Like,
are you the Dr. Disrespect?
Like, literally, you make the slightest mistake, even if you're silver or something, they'll immediately, like, they'll just flame you.
I love that.
Like, oh my god, this is embarrassing. Even though it's a common thing, even though it's like set in stone. Filipino gamer, oh come on, that's expected. They're toxic AF. I'm like,
that's great.
I want to change this. I want to remove the stigma that we're toxic, because not every Filipino gamer out there is as toxic as we are painted up to be. But I gotta admit, when the Filipino mode goes on, for some reason the toxicity switch also flips to 100. I don't know why.
That's great. I love that.
I mean, I don't know how, but I think it's also in the language. Like, I can say, for example, if I were to tell a teammate, dude, your aim kind of sucks, it doesn't even sound that harsh, right?
Right.
But if I say it in Tagalog, like, pre, napakahina yung aim mo, dude. I'm like, that sounded a lot harsher, though. Even if it means the exact same thing. Like, I just said that, dude, your aim is really weak.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just said that in Tagalog and it immediately sounds a lot more hostile.
Yeah, a lot of my I used to work at a place where a lot of my coworkers are Filipino, and like it was the same thing. I was like, "Oh my god, are you guys fighting?" And they're like, "No, like I just
No.
told them that like whatever." I'm like, "Oh,
Oh
okay."
boy, that's a common thing. Okay,
Yeah.
if there's one thing, okay, Dongel, one thing I will say is that whenever I do plan to extend, I give a heads up. I give a heads up. It looks like we're gonna extend just a little bit because we're just gonna banter over the
That's
casual
all good.
But honestly, I do understand why some foreigners kind of get that. Yo, are you mad? No, we're just talking.
You get used to it, of course.
I mean, it's kind of like how people perceive a casual German conversation, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Just because I guess the language sounds so harsh with like a lot of the pronunciations.
It's like, oh my god, are you mad? It's like, no, I just said I wanted a potato. Like, what's potato in German? Kartoffel. I'm like, what the?
That sounds like the meanest thing you can say. Yeah, I get you.
It's like, you can always say, you know what, you're a freaking Kartoffel. I'm sorry. And the German's like, I just called you a potato. I just called you a potato. But yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. There's a reason for that. It's because Tagalog is not 100% Spanish. If it was 100% Spanish, it would sound much less hostile. But the thing is, although Tagalog has a lot of influence from Spanish language, like for example, if you were to say the Spanish word for chair, which is silla, even if the spelling is different, the pronunciation is the same. A Filipino would understand what you mean by silla. Like if you were to go to the Philippines and you ask, oh, we need 4 chairs. You say apat na silla, so 4 chairs. Silla is still like very heavily inspired by Spanish. I would say I consider it a Spanish word, but they'd understand it. But if you were to use a Tagalog word for chair, I mean there are many ways to say chair in Tagalog. There's upuan, which means, I mean, upo is literally the verb for sit, and upuan is literally like the place where you sit or what you use to sit.
Okay, cool.
So by extension, if you were to say bed in Tagalog, you just use the verb tulog, which is sleep. Tulugan, the place or the thing you use where you sleep.
That's really cool.
But that's really Tagalog. There's no Spanish equivalent for upuan or tulugan. No.
Right.
But unfortunately, it also applies for a lot of the words we use. For like even basic stuff like pronouns or simple words or terms, or more especially like swear words. And I don't know, if there's one proud thing I would say about being fairly fluent in Tagalog, is how versatile the term putang ina is. It's very versatile, even though it's a swear word. Like, if you want to impress your friends or coworkers that are Filipino, you use putang ina, but not in a swear context.
Oh, okay.
That will sort of show them like, oh, so you understand how we use it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because if I were to say, like, even if it's just partial, like, I'll say it in complete Tagalog and I'll say it in partial Tagalog, so, or Taglish, so to speak. So if I were to say, like, damn, this chicken nugget is so freaking good. So if I were to say it in pure Tagalog, putang ina, sarap ng chicken nugget. Like, I just used a swear word, but the context is like, yeah, it's not a swear. You just like, it's so good it made you use a swear word.
That's really neat. I like that a lot.
But if you
It's been so educational
if
here.
you use Taglish, putang ina, this chicken nugget tastes so good. Like, it still kind of gets the whole multi-use of it. And the whole versatility of that word is even Filipinos make fun of it. over here in the Philippines, like a lot of people make fun of it, of how versatile it is. You
That's
want to
great.
compliment how someone looks, putang ina, ang ganda mo. Like, oh my god, you look so good. Or you want to insult someone, putang ina, ang bobo mo. Like, oh my god, you're so freaking stupid. Or common phrase when it's hot, which is if it's not raining, because it's raining right now, but if
Mhm.
it's not raining, it's hot. So I hear people say, putang ina, ang init. Like, oh my god, it's so freaking hot. So yeah, that whole phrase of putang ina is very versatile. And yeah, it's used everywhere. But
That's
of
really
course,
cool. I really like that.
that's not the only swear word there is. Like
For sure.
there is a variant of that. It's a one word, but it's straight up just used for swearing. And the thing is, there's like a shortcut to it, and the nuance is different. And I'm just like, for a swear word, the amount of complexity in its layers is very hilarious.
Mhm.
Like, and the word I'm talking about is puñeta. Like, puñeta has almost the same meaning as putangina, but it's really used just to swear.
Hmm.
Like, you don't hear someone say puñeta ang sarap nito. No, 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 no. It sounds very weird.
Mhm.
And there's a shortcut of that. You put the pu out of the puñeta and just say puñeta. It's less strong. It's slightly weaker. Like, oh, you're irritated. Like, if you hear someone say puñeta, like, oh crap, are they mad? But if you hear someone say puñeta naman, they're like, oh, they're just a bit irritated. Oh, hang on, Dongle has a question.
Dong, that's a really great question. I really like that. I just skimmed it.
Oh, this is kind of weird and specific question, but you speak English, Japanese, and Tagalog, right? Is Tagalog your main language? So when you go to talk Japanese, you translate English first, or okay. And here's the fun fact that I failed to mention earlier. This is one of the tough parts of being 50-50 on your persona as a character. You don't know when the you starts and when the you ends. And when the other you starts and when the other you ends. Okay. But to answer this, I consider English as my main language. Because in my household we have used English more often than we use Tagalog. And as for Japanese, I will argue that I think my Japanese is more fluent than my Filipino or Tagalog. Because to be fair, like, I have been studying Japanese recently and I've been more exposed to Japanese culture and Japanese media, so I haven't had the same exposure as I have in Tagalog in general. I mean, especially now in the pandemic, especially with quarantine, I have no clue what the situation is for the pandemic of COVID outside of the Philippines, but let me just
Mhm.
say that, yeah, it's a warning for all of you out there. Now is not a good time to go to the Philippines.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's not a good time. Like, I wouldn't say we're in a... Okay, it might come up presumptuous of me to say so because, again, the situation really differs for different social statuses, but
Absolutely.
I would say that people are at least a bit more optimistic towards the whole COVID situation, but we're
Mhm.
still not, like, I wouldn't say we're safe.
For
Like,
sure.
we're still in danger in terms of, like, how are we doing against COVID? Yeah, we're not doing that great a job compared to other countries.
Mhm.
But yeah, if I were to translate something, I would definitely translate it straight to Japanese or English first before I translate it to Tagalog. And to be fair, one of the main advantages of being in the Philippines is that English is practically a second language there. Here,
Oh,
rather.
nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's one of the advantages. It's also why tourism is very strong in the Philippines.
Yeah, that makes a
Like,
lot of sense.
everything is cheap here. Everything is cheap. And
Mhm.
I don't know if this plays into you wanting to visit here, and when I mean you, I don't just mean the viewers, but also you too, Izumi. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do plan to spend the holidays here, we start Christmas on September.
All right, let's go. Christmas in a couple months, like next month, basically. Sounds perfect.
There's the reason why we call every month from September to December the Burr months.
Ah,
If you notice, every month starting from September ends with Burr. And
right.
the reason why we call it the Burr months is because we start Christmas the moment the Burr months begins. And when I mean we start Christmas, I really mean we start Christmas. So at the end of August, if you were here in the Philippines, you would see Christmas pearls, Christmas sales, Christmas songs playing everywhere at as early as September.
Oh wow.
And a lot of people love it. And I gotta say,
Yeah.
you're willing to go to a third world country because we have one of the best experiences for Christmas out there.
Yeah, you have Christmas for like a third or fourth of the year. Wow.
As we like to brag about it, our Christmas here is very bonggang bonga.
That's great. I love
Bonggang bonga is
that.
basically a term to like, man, how do I describe this in English? It's like kind of crude, but it's like really like balls to the wall. Like it's really like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like whoo, it's really wild. It's really like people do put out all the stuff to celebrate Christmas here.
That's great.
And like I said, it's very cheap in this country. There's a reason why a lot of people like to retire in the Philippines. Like English is a primary language, and a lot of stuff here is very affordable. It's like very affordable. Like I would ask you, how much is a KFC meal over there?
Oh God.
Yeah, how much?
$10 minimum for like the cheapest thing that you can get.
Which is
Oh God. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I was at a KFC, but I mean, probably just like a burger and like fries. Probably not even like the actual, chicken.
okay. How much is a chicken meal over there?
You know what? I'll even Google it for you.
Please do.
Let me see. I'll give you an exact amount
And this
because
is
whatever I
important.
guess is gonna be way
This
off.
is important because I'm in an Asian country. What does it come with? Like what
Let
are
me
the
see.
what are the sides with the chicken?
Oh my God, it's making me order. It won't just give me a price. Ugh. Why you gotta be so hard, KFC? Man, it's not giving me any prices on their website. I wonder why that is.
Like, you can give me an estimate.
Yeah. Oh, I have no idea. I'm a vegetarian, unfortunately, so I don't eat KFC or anything like that.
Alright, I'll just make the estimate then. So if you said that the
Yeah, go ahead.
basic burger meal is like $10, that's Canadian
yeah.
dollars or US dollars?
Canadian.
Okay, what's 10 Canadian dollars in US dollars?
I think like probably $8.
Okay, $8. So
Yeah,
okay.
$7.94, $8.
Okay, so roughly the ratio, that's 8 out of 10, that's 4/5, so 80%, okay. Yep, that's one of my talents! I can math without a calculator, okay. That
Damn,
aside-
God, I wish that were me.
Alright, so I'll say if $10 in Canada will buy you an 8-piece, okay, thank you. 8-piece bucket with fries
Thank you, Dong.
is $15. Crap, $15? Hang on, so that's $12 in USD. Wow, that's expensive. Do you know that in the Philippines you can get 2 8-piece buckets with $12?
Oh, really? Wow. And like that's considered like good price here too.
And you said that's
like,
bucket
that's
with
considered cheap.
fries.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
bucket
yeah.
meal over here is like 300 pesos. That's roughly like $6 to $7.
Oh
And
my God.
that comes with like 3 side dishes of your choice too. And
I
like,
remember. Damn, that's crazy.
yeah, the
I was
most
gonna...
common meal. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
let me just
go
finish
ahead, go
it.
ahead.
The most common meal that people get here from KFC is usually like a 2-piece chicken meal.
Yeah, yeah.
It comes with rice, gravy, and a drink. And if you don't upsize the drink, it'll just cost you like 100 pesos. That's two bucks, $2.
Oh my
Just two
god.
USD.
I don't know how many, like, but you know those big buckets that they have? Like, that's like $30-$40 here, easy. Like, that's expensive.
Yeah,
Not like,
KFC over here
wow.
has rice. That's what our meal is. You know,
Yeah.
because Filipinos are Asians, Asians gotta have their rice.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like just about every when you say meal in just about every Asian country, like snap your fingers, you'll expect rice to
It's
come with it.
rice.
Yeah, it'll come with rice,
Absolutely.
and the rice is like quite generous too. Like it's a cup of rice. But the funny thing is also, like, it's become a meme in the Philippines where we don't get a one-piece chicken with rice. No, we get gravy. No, yeah, we get gravy with rice with a one-piece chicken. The side dish is actually the chicken. The main dish is the gravy. Because literally, like, a lot of college students in the Philippines, their budget meal is literally a one-piece chicken from KFC, which is around 60 to 70 pesos. So that's about, well, it's not, that's barely like, that's one in a little over $1, less than $2
Mm-hmm.
for a one-piece chicken with rice. And you can even, if you want to even save on the budget, you can take out the drink. But the thing is, the gravy is overflowing. So
Wow.
what people do, because it comes with rice, they'll just break up the rice and then just drown it in gravy, and then there you go. That's it. And the funny thing is, the plate that it comes with, there's like a specific area for the gravy, and people don't use that for the gravy. They use that for the chicken.
Right.
the
That's
the
hilarious.
area where they put the rice, that's where they put the gravy and the rice. It's not gravy. It's not chicken with rice. It's not a chicken rice meal with gravy. No, it's a gravy rice meal with chicken.
That's brilliant. I love that so much. That's so great.
But yeah, one thing in particular that's really cheap in the Philippines is, yeah, food in particular is really, really cheap.
Fair.
And one common thing that a lot of tourists and foreigners do here, they go on shopping sprees here because, yeah, it's
Not
really,
surprising.
really affordable here, and especially during Christmas. The big
Oh, for
malls, the
sure.
big malls, which we have no shortage of, like, okay, this might be a bit unfair because different countries, different culture, but Izumi, how many like shopping centers or malls are near you, and how near are they from you?
There's one that's like within 15 minutes driving distance. After that, it's more than 45 minutes.
Okay, that's a pain
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
from where I live right now, I
Mm-hmm.
can literally walk maybe 5 to 10 minutes, or if I use the bike, 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. This is driving in a car. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, three different shopping centers.
Yeah.
Three different shopping
Absolutely not here.
three different shopping centers here with different restaurants and shops inside. And around the October to December, which we consider peak Christmas season, the sales
Hmm.
there can go up to like 80%.
Damn.
So yeah, all I see are just people with like stuffed trunks of just Uniqlo, Zara, whatever, like
Oh, yeah.
clothing stores,
Of course.
shoe stores, you name it. Like, whew.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's one thing I did notice. Like, I did stay in the States a couple of times, and when I did, like, the naive little kid kitsune that I was, I'm just like, I want to go to a shopping mall. Like 30 minutes into the drive, I'm like, why aren't we there yet? Why aren't we? We've been driving for 30 minutes, and the thing is, I'm like, in the Philippines, if you drive for 30 minutes, that just means it's traffic. But
Right, of
I'm driving
course.
30 minutes in the States with no traffic. I'm like, we're not there yet? Gotta be
Hmm.
kidding me, right? And when we get there, it was kind of bare bones too. I'm like, this is a shopping mall, man. Like, whoa. Like, this doesn't pass Filipino standards.
That's great. Your standards are so high.
For shopping malls, yeah. But, I mean, there's always a trade off. There's always a trade off. Unfortunate trade off.
Hmm.
Like, for all the nice shopping malls and restaurants we have, there are other areas in the Philippines that need more funding that unfortunately it just doesn't. It's very unfortunate. It's very ugly, but ugh, can't win in everything, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the priority probably would go towards things that would increase tourism as well, because I imagine they make a lot of money from that.
Yep, especially the top two tourist locations in the Philippines, which is Boracay and Palawan. We get a lot of
Oh,
revenue
yeah.
from those two beach
Mm-hmm.
tourist spots.
Of course.
Yeah, but I'm just like, you want to share some of that funding to the agricultural and educational sector? They could use more funding. But yeah, I'm just like, not many people can afford private schools here. But unfortunately, private school is the only way to get like reliable education here.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're like a really smart person, like you have to aim for a scholarship to get into the big universities here.
Yeah,
That
that's so
stuff ain't
fair.
cheap. I mean, like a lot
Yeah.
of like student debt has become a meme at this point, especially in the States, and I'm not sure if it's the same in
Yeah,
Canada,
absolutely.
but I'll just assume that it's also a problem there, and I'm lucky, like, I'm glad I don't have to suffer that. But I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, ugh. Like, okay, good education here is good, but wow, I have no clue why. If anything, I want clarification from a local. Why is it that student debt is a problem over there?
Actually, Canada doesn't really have as much of a student debt problem as America does. I think the average price here, in USD for a semester is about 500.
What the?
It's
That
really cheap and yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's cheap.
Comparatively. Well, 500 a semester in Canada is considered pretty good. That's in American dollars, not Canadian dollars.
Yeah. I assume as well because you said USD. I'm like
Yeah, yeah,
500 USD
yeah.
for a semester. That's
No,
pretty.
that's granted. That's not counting like because some textbooks that you can get are really expensive and things like that. But my last semester at university, that's all it cost me. I didn't have to buy any textbooks or anything like that. Oh no, I paid for my schooling all myself as well. Stunk. That's
Yeah,
not subsidized or anything like that.
man, I can't help but realize why a lot of my friends from high school like migrated to Canada at some
I
point.
know, yeah, 100%. And a lot of people come here. And no, granted, of course, that's the school that I go to, and different schools will have different costs. Like some schools in Canada can be really expensive, especially if you go to like a specialized school. Like the university that I go to is just more like you can go there and do whatever, but there are ones like specific for film that are going to be more expensive or specific for video games or fashion or whatever, and they're always going to be more expensive.
Mm, but
Like I have
hey, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like I have a friend who like he goes to like a one of the really big film schools in Toronto, and like he's paying quadruple what I'm paying a semester. Like his is really expensive, but
How much did you
I
pay?
suppose
If you don't mind me
500
asking.
USD a semester. No,
So
500
so
USD a
he
semester.
paid so he paid 2,000 USD then per sem.
Basically, yeah.
That is roughly how much we have to pay per sem here also for the big three.
Yeah. No, granted, there's not that many schools here that charge that much money, but again, it's the specialty schools.
Okay, I want to go a little back to the topic here. Dongil did
Hmm.
ask a question. Wait, I need to scroll back for this. Uh, oh, if you could. Oh wait, no, not the VTuber part. Darn it, did I lose it? Oh wait, I found it. If darn it, wait, okay. If there was one game or form of entertainment you want everyone to experience, what would it be?
Oh dang, that's a really good question. Let me think. Man, what game like changed my life? Holy shit. I think the first one that comes to my mind, if I had to make everyone experience a game, I think I would say Okami, if you're familiar with that.
Oh my god, you have such good
I'm
taste!
glad we have so much to bond over. It's just, like, I have never played a game like Okami. I have nothing else to compare it to. Like, it is so unique. Visually, it is so beautiful. Gameplay-wise, it is so unique how, you have... Like, the combat in that game is so interesting. The fact that you use your paintbrush tail to, do attacks or, use it to solve puzzles. Like, it's just so great. Okami Pog.
Oh,
Mine's
there's Dana.
so good.
Oh my god, Dana was the one that redeemed the code change in the previous one. Oh.
Good. If not Okami, my second option would have been Muramasa the Demon Blade.
Ooh. I should look that
If
up.
you know that one.
I'll look that up.
It's another like very like Japanese heavily stylized game, but this one is like a side-scrolling like RPG. It's really unique as well, and again, same positive things to say about it. Amazing soundtrack, really cool gameplay, and just a beautiful atmosphere and world.
Okay. For me, there are also two games. First one,
Yeah.
even before it was a trend now, because it's insane how it has become such a huge trend. I would want people to experience FF14.
Yeah, that's so fair.
Like
I played a lot of FF14.
Like, there is a reason why every FF14 player is a walking spiel advertisement for Yoshi P and Co right now. I love that game to bits. Like, I wouldn't. It would be, in my opinion, it might sound very biased, but I don't see FF14 as a game. It's an experience. There's just something about that game that you experience that you won't find in other MMOs. I mean, for the period of time, like, I know how to play Mahjong. And when they added Mahjong in FF14, a lot of us were joking.
That was it for you?
Because my guildmates were also from Singapore and Malaysia and from the Philippines, a lot of us were making the jokes, man, I love how this online Mahjong game has an MMO mini game on the side.
That's so good. I love that. That's how that's what the Yakuza games always do that for me as well, where they always have like the ridiculous
Oh my god,
random
you're a
games that you
Yakuza
can
game
play.
fan too?
I believe Yakuza has Mahjong, I thought. Let me Google for you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
But the fact that you said Yakuza, I'm like, oh my god.
A good taste.
Good taste.
We're molding into the same person.
Yeah, Yakuza has
Yeah,
shogi
you're right.
too.
It does have shogi. Yeah.
But I find it funny how, like, when Yakuza 7 was first revealed, as a fan of the series, I was a bit skeptical, but I still had faith in Ryuga Gotoku Game Studios that they could probably pull it off. Even though they changed it from a beat 'em up to a turn-based RPG. When I played it, because it was on Steam for like half off. I bought it and I played it and I'm like, this is still a Yakuza game. I don't know how they did it, but it still is. The music is still good, the characters are very captivating, and not gonna lie, the actor, both the English and Japanese actor for Ichiban deserve an Oscar for their performance as Ichiban Kasuga. Like, their performance was so good. But yeah, Yakuza has a lot of like mini games on the side. It has
Absolutely.
There's a casino in the game. There's a karaoke mini game, billiards, darts, mahjong, shogi. It's endless. But as for the second game, I want people to experience. As much as I want to say Yakuza, I want to give more attention to indie games, and there are two games in particular. One would be Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. The first one or the
It
second
tastes.
one is fine. It's what it's one of the games I've been streaming recently, and the fact that it's classic like 8-bit, 16-bit, no, not 16-bit, 8-bit Castlevania graphics, but
Mm-hmm.
the experience is like the purest form of Castlevania I've ever experienced. It feels like Castlevania. But what shocked me was how amazing it made pixel graphics look. Like, and Dana in particular also mentioned like, yo, these pixel graphics are great. And I was like, I know, right? Like, you'd think that pixel graphics in 2020? You nuts? But nah, a lot of games have proven wrong. Have proven the stereotype wrong. You don't need good graphics or modern graphics to make a game good. Octopath Traveler proved it.
100%.
Bloodstained proved it. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of games have. I mean, Return of the Obra Dinn also proved it. Like, the graphics are weird, but it's still like well loved and well praised. And another game that I've been playing again recently is World of Horror.
I want to play World of Horror so bad. I haven't picked it up yet, but man, that game is so visually interesting.
It's really, really good. You should really pick it up.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to soon enough. I'm really excited too.
Yeah, and like again, as a music connoisseur, the soundtrack of World of Horror is what blew me away immediately.
Oh, for sure.
Like
I love that.
This game was made. The graphics of the game was made in MS Paint, and the music is as 8-bit music as you can get. But
Oh, that's great.
it beats a lot of modern video game soundtracks I can enumerate. Like it's
Mhm.
that good.
Great.
Okay, interesting question I did want to ask you a while ago during the casual Q&A.
Mhm.
What is your worst gaming experience?
Oh my, that's a really good question. Let me think on that for a second. What's yours? Did you already have an answer prepared?
I did.
Okay,
Alright.
let's hear it.
There is a game in the Wii U that a lot of people love. And even, like, for those who didn't even play the Wii U, they're like, whoa, I want to get a Wii U just for this game. And it's Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah.
It's a really good game. I got into it until I reached the player hub.
Oh no.
Here's the thing. The day theme of the player hub doesn't bother me much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's bias or taste, but the night theme just rubs me the wrong way. Like, it's just so far outfield in the whole thematic and genre of the rest of the tracks. It's like so incongruent. I'm like, is this real? This is an actual track? And it was that moment really, it hit me in that moment. Like, yeah, Inari, you're a video game music connoisseur. That made me quit the game altogether.
Damn.
Like,
Because of the song?
because of the song in the player hub.
Wow.
And, like, if it was a song in an area, I would have still been able to play it. But it's a player hub, which means you spend most of your time there. And when it's night, I'm like, the visuals are great at night, but my god, this track is atrocious! And please, for those who like the track, don't be offended by what I'm saying. If anything, I'm envious. If you can tolerate it, or if you like it, I envy you right now. But I just can't. I can't. It made me quit. And I'm just like, I love the combat. I love the music tracks outside of this one. I love the mechanics. But good lord, I can't believe this one music track made me quit this game altogether. That's
Damn.
why I consider that my worst video game experience. Like, I quit a game. Well, some of my friends said it's for a reasonable reason. But I'm like, for such a petty reason, it's just one track, I quit the game altogether. I'm like, God.
I love how deep and well thought out that was. Meanwhile, my brain is like, I hated Smash 4 because it didn't have wave dashing as a subspace emissary.
No. As a Smash Bros.
We are
fan,
not the same person.
no, it's alright. As a Smash Bros. fan, to be fair, I can vibe with that. Like, I will say that I still understand what Sakurai and the rest of Nintendo's like. It's a party game, but I'm glad with Smash Ultimate, Sakurai and Nintendo have accept the fact that people play this. Oh, sorry. People play this game competitively. Like you can't not appeal to that market. So they made Ultimate feel still like not melee, but it was very appealing for melee players. I'm like, and I know how very anal and picky melee players are. So the fact that they were like, okay, we'll give it a try. Ooh, you want to say that again? You want to give not melee a try? Whoa, that's big. And again, the fact that there are a lot of big Smash Bros. Content creators like Hungrybox, for example, he does both Ultimate and Melee content, but mostly Ultimate, and I'm just like, that's impressive. But I do vibe with the fact that there's no subspace emissary and no wave dashing. Like, that was dope though. Like you have the meme MLG wave dash mechanics, but you also have the amazing story mode. Like in my opinion, it's the best story mode in any fighting game ever made. The subspace emissary, that was so good.
Like, it was so unique.
Not just unique, it was rewarding because you can naturally unlock characters just by doing subspace emissary. And you can also, like, the replayability is high also because you can make decisions you didn't make. Like, for example, wait, do I save Peach or do I save Zelda against Piranha Pete? And I'm like, I'm Mario, so I gotta save Peach, right? But then I'm like, you know what? Next time I play this, I'm gonna pick Zelda.
The moral choices in a Nintendo fighting game.
I know, right? Like hardcore players be like, oh my god, who do I main? Meanwhile, Izumi be like, who do I save? Peach or Zelda? So that's your worst experience. That's still understandable though, don't worry about it. Oh man. Good morning, how are you guys doing, says Barialum?
Hi, Bor, welcome. I think you came close to the end. I think we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah, come to think of it, it is 10:30 in the morning over there, right? Did you have breakfast already?
I'll get to it after this, don't worry.
Okay. Dongil, please make sure she eats breakfast.
Dong is my handler now.
Pretty much. Actually, that's one thing I failed to ask, but I do want to ask now. How... Do you know Dongil personally?
Oh, no. We've only got Dong... I met Dong through a raid from Fukumi, actually.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, the fact that you're willing to leave your channel into the trusty hands of someone you don't know, that speaks volumes about Dongil and, of course, your community in general. Like, that's amazing.
For sure. I like to think I'm an okay judge of character. I think Dong will serve us well.
I envy that. Like, it's not that I don't trust everyone. Like, I want to trust everyone, but I just can't trust everyone. And
no, I get you.
I guess it also comes with, like, personal experiences everyone has had in the past.
For sure.
The
Fluff is also a mod as well, and I think I met Fluff through Penchon, who is also a mod, so... I was like, well, you know, I trust Penchon's opinion of people, and he has not led me astray. Fluff has been a wonderful mod as well, and I'm so very thankful.
Thank goodness. What are the... this is one thing I'm very curious, though. What is the benefit of having a moderator?
I hate talking about things because I feel like I'm not the best at wording them and I never want to sound like I'm bragging. But I got a lot of unexpected growth really quickly, and I felt overwhelmed by that. So I definitely feel safer by having mods, and especially because, I know Dong is always around and Fluff is always around as well, and, Penchon pops in all my streams. He has more things going on as well, of course, in his life. But
Mm,
it feels safer, I guess I could say. No,
I
granted,
see.
like nothing has come up, like nothing, you know what I mean? Like I haven't had any like people come and chat or things like that. But it's just reassurances, I suppose, in case things were to go astray. Or they've been
Yes.
great for like even less. I don't want to say less important. That's not the right word, but like things that would end up less disastrous. Like they've been amazing for adding commands and doing shoutouts and things like that. Anytime I ask them to.
Okay, that is good to know.
Yeah, for sure, because you know what I mean? Like, you're playing a game, and, I don't know what your setup is. It's not really an issue for me. Like, I have 3 monitors, so I could very easily just, type my socials or whatever, but, that would distract from the flow of the stream and from the gameplay, so I'm glad that they're there on the ready.
Yeah, I understand that. I have a two monitor plus iPad setup.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, the iPad is really just to like check the stream in general. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
my second monitor is my OBS. If I'm playing a taxing game, I disable the preview, but I can
For
monitor
sure.
chat and delete any spam I see in
Yeah,
the
of course,
chat
of
with
course.
with, with OBS. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's my setup right now.
Do you have any mods yet?
No, but I'm
That's fair.
considering having a mod. But man, finding a mod I can trust is the difficult part.
That's fair, that's fair. I get you. I mean, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you can always unmod them.
Mm.
No hard feelings, teehee.
Nothing personnel, key.
It's not you, it's me. I think
Lamar.
I was also like I think another thing that like I look for in mods as well is I think when you talk to someone you can just kind of tell if you're going to vibe or not and if you're not to say moral compass, but you know what I mean? Like your expectations kind of line up. And I felt really good about, I mean, all of my mods because they're all mods for other, like, of my friends as well. So I didn't have any issues with that or anything like that. But I don't
Mm.
know if you have anyone like that who also mods for multiple channels. Which, by the way, I do appreciate you guys modding so many different people and being so amazing at it.
Mm. Man, sounds really good to have a mod you can rely on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess, it wasn't like I didn't have to like go out and, make mod applicants. Panchon straight up was like, yo, make me a mod. And I was like, yeah, okay, bet. And then I just messaged Fluffed and Dong and I was like, hey, can I make you guys mods? And they're like, yeah, okay.
Lamau XD. Oh my god. Oh, have you tried Filipino food before?
I actually haven't. Is there a particular dish you would recommend if the opportunity were to arise?
Mm.
I
That's
know
a,
there's a few Filipino takeaway places by me, but I don't actually know what's on their menu. I'll have to send you a picture sometime.
okay, I'll tell you something very ironic.
Hmm.
It'll be easier for you to find a Filipino restaurant in another country than in the Philippines itself.
That's interesting. I wonder why that is.
Because most Filipino dishes are best done when it's homemade.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's commercialized, you can taste that it's commercialized.
Mm-hmm.
There are very few Filipino restaurants, and most Filipino restaurants that people like, they're not even franchises or chains. They're usually like family businesses or like small pop-ups and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have a good chance over there in Canada because, like, I mean, I chalk it up to a lot of reasons. Like, to be fair, a lot of Filipinos tend to immigrate to Canada in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess like Filipino families want to make an earning out of making Filipino food because I mean, where can you get Filipino food in another country? So you may as well, right? So I'm like,
Yeah, absolutely. That's so fair.
very good idea. So getting Filipino food from like a small family business over there might be a good idea. But as for what dish, there is actually a laundry list of dishes I would recommend.
Fair, fair.
But okay, I will start with like the basics, like the most basic of basics. I would say you just try chicken adobo. That's like the most common. Like if fried chicken was like the go-to, I don't know what to cook. Just cook fried chicken. You're good. Like in the
Mm.
Philippines, adobo, chicken adobo is what people tend to make. It's like this brown sauce with. I'm not sure if it's soy sauce, but it's just like a brown sauce with chicken. And the chicken can even be cooked in different ways. It can be grilled, it can be boiled, it can be fried, it can be barbecue, doesn't matter. But commonly it's just boiled. And what really sells it is the sauce. Because
Oh, cool.
what people do is that they get like a big spoon, they put the chicken on top of the rice so that the sauce from the chicken and also the taste of the chicken seeps into the rice.
Hmm.
Oh, and a little fun fact, Izumi. Don't be
Mhm.
surprised if any of your Filipino friends, well, I'm pretty sure they'll refrain from doing it in public, but um, we Filipinos love to eat seafood. Most, well, any food, but mostly seafood with our hands. Like, we have a restaurant that's called Kamayan, and um, it literally means hands, or with your hands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, our plates are basically banana leaf, and we just get whatever's on the table. It's like a smorgasbord of food. There's like fish, meat, rice, and we just put it on our individual banana leaf, and we just eat it with our bare hands.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Okay, that's adobo. As for a snack, I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna Dana, thanks for the save here, but I would recommend three kind of snacks. One snack is taho. Taho is like a tofu. It's a kind of tofu with like a sweet sauce, and sometimes they put it's not exactly boba, but it's almost boba, and it's really cheap. Like, Dana, magkano ulit? Magkano ulit isang piraso ng taho? Nakalimutan ko na eh. I just asked Dana like how much is like a small plastic cup of taho. It's really good. Another
Hmm.
is chicharron. Is basically like pork rinds. And you can get, in the Philippines, you can get like a bag of chicharron that's as big as, say, a bag of Lay's. And it's not filled with air either. It's filled to the brim. And it's
Hmm.
like, what, 80 pesos? So that's like, I didn't even reach $2. In USD, it's maybe 1.4. 1.4 USD, if my math
Hmm.
is right. No, it's wrong. 1.8. 1.8 USD. And another snack slash dessert. This one I think you'll be able to find a lot easier than the other two. Halo halo. Halo halo basically means mix. And it's really a mixture of a lot of things. Commonly, ube ice cream. Ube is a flavor. Ube ice cream. But any ice cream will do. But as a Filipino, I'd recommend ube ice cream. So, what's in it is like there's fruits, berries, shaved ice, um, and a lot of stuff. It's really a mixture of stuff. There's no fixed variation. If there's so many variations of halo halo, and again, it's cheap. Like I don't know how big milkshakes are over there, but they're usually served in a milkshake glass, and they can range from 60 to 100 pesos, which is about $1.2 to $2. Still cheap.
Damn.
And the one dish I would say should be on every person's bucket list when it comes to Filipino dishes I should try, lechon. Every Christmas, my family buys like one whole lechon, and lechon is basically a, a pig, and it's cooked on a spit, the traditional way. It takes like what several hours to prepare,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, several hours to prepare. And the good ones, for Filipino standards, they're not exactly cheap. They can cost from like 5,000 to 10,000 pesos, which is about 100 to $200. But here's the thing: they can feed like 30 people.
Oh wow.
So
That's hella.
if you split it among yourselves, it suddenly becomes affordable.
For
And
sure.
and more often than not, you'll have leftovers. As for food, I wouldn't recommend from the Filipino side. Um, there's not too many, but because me personally, I wouldn't try it. Uh, dinuguan. Now, thing is, dinuguan. It, uh, thing is, dugo is Tagalog for blood. Dinuguan, well, you kind of get where I'm going here. It's pork blood stew or blood pudding stew.
Oh, okay, okay.
A lot of Filipinos can tolerate it. I wouldn't say tolerate it. I mean, they eat it like it's just a natural dish, but I just can't. The color is what turns me off immediately. It's just
Yeah.
really dark. Like, that looks like death over there. Looks like death. But here's the funny thing. My personal favorite Filipino breakfast is actually champorado. Champorado is basically rice in a chocolate mix. It's yeah.
That's
I, I,
interesting.
I know it kind of sounds weird, but the thing is like it's kind of like a chocolate soup with rice in it. There, Fluff knows what champorado is. Thank you. So champorado, and you can even choose to put evaporated or condensed milk, or you can just drink. You can consume it as it is, but it's
Mm-hmm.
very filling. And you can. The good part about that is because again, it has rice. You can eat it alone or with something. Commonly, the locals here they eat it with fish, cheap fish, or they eat it with like spam or
Oh, okay, cool, cool,
meatloaf.
cool.
So yeah, very versatile.
Nice. Oh, Jeff, I just saw your message. Yeah, it's really late for me. Well, it's only 11 a.m., but I didn't sleep yet. My sleep schedule is a little fucky wucky.
This is news to me. I thought you actually slept.
No, 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 no. It's okay. It's okay. I think I usually probably wake up between 2 and 4 p.m. and then usually I'll go to bed somewhere around like 8, 9 a.m. Jeff is one of my IRL friends, so he knows my sleep schedule, which is why he said it. He was shocked that I was up early, or so he thought.
Please tell me you took a nap prior to this.
I had hella caffeine.
Okay, okay. I
I was scared
Dongil,
if
I could
I
have
was
used
scared
a
if
warning or a heads up.
No, it's okay. I was scared if I took a nap, I would not wake up.
I immediately assumed like the reason I set
No,
it
no,
to
it's all
8. I'm
good.
like I even had this in mind when I put it to 8. I'm like, I don't know Izumi's sleep schedule,
No,
but
it's all
I'm
good.
assuming if she sleeps at like 12 midnight or 2, she'd get at least like 5 hours of sleep if she wakes up 1 hour prior to the stream.
No, no, you're
But I'm
good. You're
just
good.
like,
I was willing to work with you. Don't worry.
yeah, but still though, like it's I know you use your leave for this, but still I still feel kind of bad. Like wait,
Oh my god, don't feel bad at all. Oh my gosh, it's all good in the hood.
I know, but it's the paradox of I feel bad, but don't feel bad that I feel bad, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like,
Dong.
oh no, but oh well. But I mean, if you tell me it's no problem, I mean, who am I to say I think it's a problem? But, I mean,
No, it's all
it
good in
gives
the
me a bit
hood.
of assurance, but still, I do kind of worry a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like how Shrine Talk has suddenly changed into Culture Talk.
Yeah.
To be fair, even prior, like, this format I had before as a content creator did tend to tangent into that a couple times too.
Mm-hmm.
But as a VTuber, it has never went this far out into casual talk with my host. Oh, this is so new, but this is so fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. I hope it was a good first experience for your new podcast.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I did this in mind. I did start this with the whole plan of making this a regular thing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I do plan to invite other guests, and if not twice a month, at least once a month, I'll be hosting this.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's a really great idea, and I think you're really great at like, not having conversations, but adding on to conversations and like topics.
Mm.
You have really interesting perspectives and analogies for things as well.
I'll chalk that up to my background in philosophy.
For sure. I'm very likely that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure.
Totally does. Like every other class is out there, every other course out there is reading books, researching other topics. Meanwhile, for philosophy, we just talk about random thoughts.
For sure. Absolutely.
Like we you were talking about this earlier, like during the countdown, but like, well, I want to expound on this. After one of my classes in university, like during our lunch break between one of our classes to our next class, so on the way out into the street where there's a lot of restaurants, we were deciding where to eat, and because we were all in the budget, like my course mates were basically like, okay, where do we eat? We can go to either McDo or KFC. And if you didn't catch that, McDo is basically short for McDonald's. That's how Filipinos shorten McDonald's. So we decided to go to. Well, while we were deciding to go, like, do we go to McDonald's or KFC? One of my course mates just had to start the conversation of, doesn't this mean that there really is no free will? And we're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, and he went on with the nuances and ramifications of, like, even if we look like we're making a decision, we ultimately did not make the decision ourselves. I'm like, what? Because we're in a group? No, because there's some underlying reason behind it we just can't explain. And we're like, how? What? And we were just standing in place on like the side of the street in between KFC and McDo. Like, while others are entering KFC and McDo, there's just like this group of freshmen like just discussing. Like, wait, the decision to go to KFC or McDo, is there free will or not? Like, but it was just way too interesting not to. It was way too interesting not to indulge the idea of it, and we just concluded that, yeah, even if you and some friends decide to like, yeah, let's go KFC. I'm feeling like KFC. No, you weren't. You weren't feeling KFC. That's a lie. And the reason behind that is because someone asked it. The moment someone asks if you want to eat in KFC or McDo, there's already an underlying reason that isn't yours. It might sound unfair and kind of difficult to explain, but that's like the most plain explanation I can give.
so fair. I hear you.
I, your expression in Zubi, you were just like, is a
My brain
bob,
has gone to mush.
it's
I'm
like,
just taking it all in.
is a bobcat or a cat bob? But like, what makes the bobcat? The bob part of the bobcat or the cat part of the bobcat?
Oh god. What is anything?
What is anything? But of course, we have less ridiculous and more interesting topics that we discuss in philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like one of them is, of course, like, oh right, ethics. It's the one area of philosophy I hate and love to discuss at the same time. Ethics. Like there is a, I don't want to say proverb, but there is a line that Aristotle did say, like, a summer bird doesn't make. Oh wait, no, one summer doesn't make a summer bird. And basically, that means that the literal sense that just because a particular bird flies during the summer doesn't make it a summer bird. It has to fly in every summer for it to be categorized as a summer bird. And his reasoning for that metaphor is that if you want to be an ethical and a moral person, you have to be moral and ethical every time. That, like, if you're just moral or ethical most of the time, it doesn't make you moral or ethical. And to be fair, that is a fair assessment.
Yeah, no, that's deep. Damn.
Yeah. It's funny how you say deep, but for a philosophy major, that's entry level philosophy. That's literally Philo 100. That's the first thing we learn. We learn much more complicated stuff.
That's great. That's a lot to think about.
Like, I would recommend philosophy for the reason that it helps you think critically.
For sure.
Like,
It's a good life skill.
personally, there are a lot of things that should bother me, but they
Mhm.
don't bother me as much because I can easily rationalize and understand why it is so. I mean, it applies to a lot of things too. Philosophy can apply to a lot of things. Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. It's good that you can apply things like that to your real life experiences so easily.
What did you plan to eat for breakfast anyway?
Breakfast when I wake up in about 10 hours from now? Good question. I have no idea. I probably am just gonna go right to bed after this.
Yeah, but I mean, when you wake up, what do you plan to have as your first meal for the day?
Oh, jeez. I don't know, maybe some toast or something. Nothing fancy.
Toast and like an egg?
Oh, yeah, probably.
The college student fundamental breakfast right there.
That's so true.
When in doubt, fry an egg. You're good to go. It's like, what will I have with this bagel? I'll just get an egg. We're good. Oh, you should actually, to be fair, you should do what Filipinos do. We almost make like too much for breakfast that we just use it for lunch and dinner as well. We call it,
Sure.
yeah, we call it baon. Baon really literally means like take it with you. So yeah,
That's really cool.
so yeah, if we like prepare even breakfast that doesn't involve rice, like if we like for example, if we just prepare like a fair amount of, as you said, toast and eggs and say for example spam, I guess, and for some reason we're just way too in a hurry or we don't finish it, we just put it in like a little Tupperware, then put rubber band just so it doesn't, the lid doesn't open up by accident in our bag, and then we just eat it for lunch. Because if there's one cultural thing that Filipinos hate, they hate wasting food. So the only time you'll see like a not empty plate is before they put it in their baon.
I feel like I've learned so much about food and preparing dishes.
But
It's
I
been
hope,
fun.
but I also hope people don't forget about the VTuber topic of this talk.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a lot of fun. I really appreciate the experience and the great conversations that we've had.
Yeah,
It's been a good
honestly,
one.
now is a really good time to get into VTubing. But remember about the common pitfalls that we did mention earlier.
Of course.
This,
And on a positive.
yeah, this VOD will be saved on my YouTube channel, so you can check it there if it once this video is taken out of Twitch. But yeah, now it's definitely a good time to get into VTubing. But yeah,
For sure.
prior warnings is that get ready to spend a lot. Get ready to spend a lot. That's for sure. And again, know the restrictions you're setting yourself.
Absolutely.
Like what
know your own capabilities.
honestly, what hurt me the most when I started VTubing, I had to burn a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to delete my old channel and my old Facebook page. That like, but of course I did give it a proper send off. Like I did thank my previous supporters for everything I've learned, and I did credit them. Like, you guys like taught me a lot of things about content creation. I'm gonna definitely take this with me when I get started into VTubing. But yeah. Oh, one last question before I actually close this off. Yeah, Dong, I'll actually close off the stream. I think this is a good question. What is the first thing in your VTuber experience that shocked you the most?
What shocked me the most? Oh god. I mean, I can't say I've had any negative experiences so far.
It can be good way or bad way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the only I would say there's a surprising amount of drama in the VTubing community on Twitter.
Okay, this is news to
like
me.
that's Twitter. Yeah, yeah. I don't really use Twitter all that much besides posting like when I'm streaming, but I know there's a lot of drama, but I guess the cost of things are more than I would have thought. But I mean, you know, again, nothing too crazy.
I see. Well, for me, what shocked me the most, honestly, is how welcoming the community is. Not just the viewers, but especially other VTubers.
For sure, for sure.
Like, I was really, really shocked when I think the very first, like, it's quite hilarious how what goes around comes back around, because I think the first VTuber I ever watched was actually you, Izumi. Like, first VTuber on Twitch that I watched, I think, was you. And
oh my god, I feel so honored.
And I'm just like, darn, she's so wholesome. And chat is actually wholesome.
Most of the time.
And I'm just like a newbie. I say hi. I'm like, oh, she actually acknowledged me. And then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But I'm like, I'm just gonna lurk though. But I wonder
that's so endearing.
I wonder if she'll notice me next time. And you have never failed to notice me either. I'm like,
of course.
Darn. And you have a larger like viewer base than I do. I don't know how you do it.
Again, I think like the sole reason why I became interested in VTubing was to make more friends, and I've been incredibly happy that I've been successful in doing that so far. So I get really happy when I see, I mean, regulars or new people. I get so happy when there's people in chat just talking to me and wanting to hang out and vibe.
All right. Well, that'll be it for today's for episode 1 of Shrine Talk with Inner Yoko, and of course our guest Izumi VT. Thank you so much for gracing episode 1 with your presence. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
And just a little plug, Izumi, kindly plug your next stream.
Yo, my stream is happening in, what time is it now? Let me count with my fingers real quick. 7 hours. We're doing an art stream. Let's go.
Well, as for me, it's 11 in the evening right now, but tomorrow will be a shooty FPS stream, so I'll be streaming FPS games, and there will be a paradoxical, but there will be a planned guerrilla stream of Genshin Impact tomorrow.
Nice. Thank you, chat, for telling you to go sleep. I will, don't you worry.
And yeah, because this is not your stream, Izumi, you have no choice but to go to bed right after this.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, it's been an honor. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope you have fun playing pew pew shooty games.
I Funny you should say that because I'm like, I was about to say, oh, I will. Then I remembered, wait, I'm playing in Asia.
It's never fun. It's always a sweat.
No, not that it's never fun, but when you get used to it, it's fun. I get
For
I get
sure.
used to it, so it is fun. But I still see all the jokes. The goal in like Dota is to play without learning how to speak Tagalog or Indonesian,
Mm-hmm.
because every trash talker is basically
Yeah.
Filipino.
Absolutely.
But yes, just the final word from me. That is one stereotype and stigma I'm trying to break. That Filipino gamers are toxic? Nope, not all of them. I know friends and content creators on Twitch, on YouTube, on Facebook Gaming. They're not all toxic. They're really nice people. Alright. Okay, thank you, Foxtrots, Tomoyokos. What do you call your fan base?
PogChamps.
Okay, Foxtraps then. Wait, Pogchamps? Why not
Bob Champs.
Bob Champs?
All of the above.
All of the above. All right. Well then, okay, Foxtrots and Bob Chats. Bob words. Foxtrots and Bob Chaps. And voice crack. Oh my god. Thank you so much for tuning in for episode 1 of Shrine Talk. ビューワーの皆様、ありがとうございました。見てくれて、本当に光栄です。Thank you, and we'll see you on our perspective streams, I guess. Yes?
For sure. It's been a pleasure. I hope you all have amazing days and or nights.
Right. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot again.
Of course.